Is this thing on?
It's on.
It is on. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Saturday. I mean, we can't get a Sunday with these Patriots keep on winning. So we moved our show for a couple of reasons. One, the Pats are playing tomorrow at 3:30, whatever. I don't like Mondays. And we have a great guest. I just met him. I've only talked to him for 5 minutes of my life, and I like everything I have heard so far. Hopefully we don't scream at each other and step on each other. I will do my best to give this guy as much time as it takes. I mean, we're here to have fun. So what I offered, I said, can you do you want to come on? I liked a couple of your posts recently, and I'm going to be talking about some of the similar things that you're talking about. Do you want to do it? And he's like, yeah. And I said, all right, you got 2 time slots. You got the Monday slot or the Saturday. He said, let's do Saturday. And so that's why we're here right now. And we don't have a Muppet form because I didn't have enough time to, talk to SK27 that we need. SK27, we need a Grant Smith Ellis Muppet. I'm sure he already has one. I just didn't have time to look for one. That being said, Eric, do we bring him on?
Sure, John. Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you sure?
Looking forward to it. In fact, for those first-time viewers, I just want to let everybody know that's John Camo, and I'm Eric DiGirolamo.
That's right. I'm also known as Dixie Bunyan on here, Dixie Enormous on Twitter. You can find me there. Almost daily. I'm going to be taking a break eventually, just for a couple days here or there. You can't keep up with it every day, but it'll be good. Chat, I promise I will try to watch the chat tonight, because here's the thing: the one thing I have learned. The chat's not there just to chat with each other. They're there to enhance our show. So I will try to make a better effort into watching the chat. Eric, you can do the same. I know you're not here just for your looks, Eric. So it doesn't have to be super chats or anything like that. We're just gonna watch. Obviously, if they're up, you're getting them. So here we go. Let's bring them up. Are you ready for Grant Smith Ellis? Hey, Grant.
How are you guys doing? I love that intro. I was vibing.
I wish I had more for you. Like I said, it was one of those. I had never talked to you before, and I'm like, you want to come on? And you're like, yeah. I was like, oh, I wasn't ready for it. But here's the thing: we're both on the same. Our radar is on the same target.
I would think that by some miracle of fate, that is exactly what's happened.
Yep, and so tonight, everybody has seen. All our cronks have seen some of our. Yeah, Grant's a talker, and and we're gonna let him talk. We're gonna let him talk tonight. Maybe
We should give a little bit of background as far as what I know about Grant, because there were 2 trials, and in the first trial, Grant seemed to be a little bit on the anti-Karen Reed side, thought she was guilty, and by the second trial, I noticed that he kind of shifted gears and was taking a different approach, and I'd like to know a little bit more from Grant on how that happened.
Sure. So I found this case, I think like a lot of people, just online. I was covering the Cannabis Control Commission. Like I was into like fights between the treasurer and the Cannabis Control Commission. I was watching this and I said, there's something odd about this case. It's a threat to the justice system. Little did I realize that it was completely a different threat than I initially thought. Now, why would I, the son of 2 prosecutors from Middlesex County under Scott Harshbarger all the way back in the 80s, think that the state police and the prosecutors are capable of working with witnesses and letting the witnesses basically prosecute their own case. I had to see it with my own eyes to believe it. And I was manipulated into thinking Karen was the most evil human being on the face of the planet. And somehow I did not even listen to what David Yannetti, Alan Jackson, and those brilliant lawyers were saying because I was that manipulated by the state. They were that good.
Grant, when you say manipulated, do you mean like people, you know how they say you get more flies with honey? You think these were people that just smiled and told you what they wanted you to hear and you believed it?
Yeah, explanation for every piece of evidence. I had a question about keeping the people who were less controllable away from me, like the elements of the McCabe's and Albert families that were less sanguine. And that's the word I'll use.
So you spent some time with some of the Albert family.
Yeah, I mean, and I want to be clear, I was very authentic in my support. I wasn't being manipulative. That's literally what I thought. I want to support these people. So I just went and hung out, and eventually I spent 4 hours with Chris and Colin. And I didn't think they were malicious. I just had questions about why they were moving in certain ways. And when I could.
Is that his?
Yeah. Grant, you're muted.
No. Hold on, Grant. We'll wait on you.
Yeah, I don't know if I put the button on my mic or something.
That's okay. It's all right. We wait for you. Don't let it happen again.
When I couldn't get answers to my questions, which I thought were pretty simple, I started to have more questions. So 2023, 2024, 2025, more and more questions, more and more information I'm learning. What was hidden from me? What was hidden from Karen? Oh my goodness, this is way more serious than I thought. So I'm speaking generally, but that was the process. More learning, more information, questioning what I was told. People lied to me. You don't lie to me. Now I'm going to bring you down.
Correct. So his question was a little more Karen Reed. Mine is I don't know you. We've never really interacted, and I don't understand the towel. Why do they call you the towel?
So I have an answer to that. In February of 2024, a random account called Stoop the Kid on YouTube was like, Grant's pronouns are towel, and I don't really know why, but that's what he calls himself. Now, I didn't really call myself a towel at that time. They were just making fun of me. And I was like, screw it. I'm running with this. And now it's a whole thing. So, and it's meant to reflect the towel from South Park who gets like a little stoned and then randomly solves complex social problems without really realizing what he's getting himself into.
Like I said in the chat, so Can Changeling, Uzi is actually on a live broadcast. Well, I don't know if it's still going on, but she's on Calling All Beings at the moment with Brandy. They're being interviewed right now. So it's a dueling show. So there you go. There's your answer. So you guys can either watch us or go over to Calling All Beings, and if they're still on there. But yeah. Okay. So somebody else asked if Matt McCabe was going to be on. Kind of. We helped Higgins out with his timeline. We know that Jen and Kerry got help from Denise with their timeline. Hi Sherry D. So why not help Matt? Because Matt needs a little help with his timeline. So we're going to bring up Matt's morning, and we're going to go through it, and we're going to see huge inconsistencies that we have no answers for, and we're going to put it right in front of Grant and see what Grant has to say with this. So the three of us are going to watch this together. All right? And here we go. We'll bring this up.
My wife proceeded downstairs. I remained in the bedroom. While I was getting dressed, I put my jeans on. My wife went downstairs she was going to make a coffee. My wife and I were proceeding to leave. We were going to leave our house and make a drive to the house of the gentleman that my wife was calling that we possibly thought John could have met up with.
Okay. So just for everybody at home, the map of Canton that you're looking at, the X to the far left is 34 Fairview. Okay. The X up in the middle is where Matt McCabe lives. And the triangle to the right is it's not exact. I didn't want to be exact, but it's within a few houses. Is the house in which he just referred that they were going to drive to. That was their original plan. Their original plan when he put his jeans on was that they were going to go drive over to that house where the triangle is. You guys, you got this so far, right, Eric? You got to unmute yourself.
Hold on, I have a question. So
Yeah.
the red triangle is where they were planning. They said they were going to go, but that's not where they went.
They never went there. Nope. That's where that was where they were. So let me back it up a couple seconds. See above his head, right? At 1:29 in the morning, at 5:32 was the outgoing to Karen, and then at 1:29 at 5:33 they called Tom Beatty, right?
So Tom possibly thought
move it
John
forward a little
could
bit.
have met up with.
All right. So that was their plan. That was their original plan, is they were going to go there, over to the triangle. Nowhere near 34. Okay? So let's continue on.
I then heard yelling out in my front yard. And I told my wife to please tell her to shut up. She's going to wake up the whole neighborhood. I don't know if she got all the way to my doorway or my wife walked out, but my wife had said, I was actually relieved because I was like, not thinking what happened to John happened to John. I was thinking he was on somebody's couch.
Okay, so right there, he's telling everybody he's relieved. He's got his jeans on, and he's relieved that he's not going to go out. He's going to go back to bed, pretty much. That's his state of mind at that moment. Right?
Yes.
Okay. He also said that she's screaming and tell her to stop screaming, right? But Goody told us that you couldn't hear anything down at 34 because of the same snow a mile away.
And this is the
Yes,
exact
sir.
moment in time that Karen and Carrie and Jen are getting into the cars to go from the McCabe's to John's house.
You got it, Grant. You got it. Yep. Where's Bama girl? Yeah, he's telling us everything. Grant's 1 for 1 tonight. Here we go.
I was like, good, I'm not going to look for him, thinking my wife was going to go. My wife said she's going to go with Karen to go find John. I did not go outside. I did look out the blinds of my bedroom window, which is the closest to the driveway. I had mentioned to my wife before she was leaving the house that
No, I'll allow this.
That-
What were your concerns?
my concerns were she was going to be driving with Miss Reed in their vehicle, in Miss Reed's vehicle, and my concerns were that she had a broken taillight. What I thought by a broken taillight was that her taillight was out, meaning there was no light. And
Hold
I
on,
didn't
I have
think
a
it was a
question.
bright idea.
Go ahead.
What okay, maybe I'm missing
Yeah.
something, but he's in jeans.
In his bedroom.
All he's done so far is call Karen's phone and then Tom Beatty's phone, and he's talking to Jen.
Jen did those calls. Yeah, but he's still in his bedroom in jeans looking out the front window.
But up until that point, what has happened is Jen is panicking and getting dressed to go outside and drive in the car with Karen and Carrie. And
Correct.
he, from his bedroom, looks down and is now saying he sees Karen's taillight broken, and he's now saying that he says to Jen, I don't want you to get in it because it's broken.
Meanwhile, she's pulled forward into his driveway, so you're not going to see the rear end of her car. Correct.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But
I
they
don't
did-
buy that he saw her taillight broken there at all. It sounds completely coached.
Yeah,
and
I don't
I'm being
buy that either.
sympathetic to him. Sorry, I don't buy it.
Yes,
go.
but in his defense, and I don't have it on this video, but I do know it because I have looked. He says that while they were in their bedroom on the phone with Karen, she said through the phone that her taillight was broken. So he's going by what Karen said on a speakerphone while he's in bed with his Jen.
Yeah, but
And that technically lines up because Karen, as you've probably heard, she says that when she backed out at 5:08 to go pick up Carrie and Jen, she bumped into John's car. So it's technically possible that that lines up with Karen's version of the events too.
Did she know she had damaged it to the extent that she broke the taillight? I don't think did. She stop, get out, check it, and then call Jen to say, hey, I think I broke my taillight. I think, yeah, she knew.
Doesn't sound likely.
Yeah,
That
it doesn't sound
right.
likely at all. It sounds like something's been manufactured there.
Sherry, that's correct. Jen called him. We showed it at the top of the screen. I tried to correct him.
But Jen and Matt were together, just so I understand. They're literally in the bedroom together. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So we're at that, and he's happy that he doesn't have to go out. That because he thinks he's asleep on someone's couch. So he's in his state of mind is that he's happy he doesn't go out. He's got his jeans on. He's looking out the window. He is upset that Karen is yelling too loudly. So he yells down from his bedroom to Jen, tell her to shut up. She's got to wake up Allie, who didn't get in until 2 a.m. Allie's operating on 3 hours of sleep. Tell her to shut up. Okay. But we'll keep going on. Here we go.
Idea to be driving around with no physical light on the taillight.
Myself, right there is going to be firefighter McLaughlin. That's going to be Miss Reed. And if you played it another second, I believe that's going to be Miss McCabe, or if not, Miss Roberts.
Eric, pause it for a quick second. That car, that officer on the left with the two-toned jacket.
Where the headlight is there? That's bright.
Yeah,
the bright
headlight.
Yeah. Yes.
When he gets up closer, tell me if that's Mulaney or not, because his vehicle now is parked in front of Kerry's. And for the folks at home, just remember, all the footage we've seen, Kerry's car never moved until she left. That car was parked where it was. We saw her putting towels in it. We saw it on all the dash cams. It never moved until they left, because that comes into play. Going to come up a little closer. Maybe not here. You think that is?
If I had
Who do
to
you-
guess, I'd say it's Mulaney, but I can't ID that enough.
Yeah, I can't tell. And then this guy, the guy to the left, he's got a scruff. I mean, that's Sarif. The big guy's Sarif.
The big guy, yeah.
Yeah, but the other two, I don't know which one's which.
Well, I
Right.
don't think the one to the left with the one that's at the left corner of the picture. I don't think that's Mulaney.
No, he could be a fireman, the one on the left, but they get the same jacket. I don't know.
Right.
Let's keep going back for a minute. We'll keep going.
Initially, I walked up to Officer Sarif. I said, probably some version of what's going on. Officer O'Keefe was already in the ambulance. And then I just began to try to talk to anybody and anybody.
Is it during this time, 6:23 and 6:24, you tried to make those searches at the defendant's request?
Yes.
Okay, so I had to put this super slow. So remember at 6:23, 6:24, when Jen says she was asked to Google Hoss Long, the ambulance was still there. Now, in court, when they fast forwarded to a section that they really wanted, I was able to super slow it down. I couldn't find it anywhere else. But we know at 6:27, that's the ambulance leaving right there. So we know at 6:27, the ambulance is leaving. Again, going to come into play because Matt's going to tell us what he sees and what he doesn't see. And at 6:30, there's the fire apparatus leaving. Actually, while nothing's happening right there while we're watching this, let me answer a couple little things with the chat because I said I would look. Yeah, no, I know I missed a couple of the Sherry. I know I missed a couple of from the 5 o'clock hour. I really just want to go from where Matt being in his bedroom on. So I should have said that I was going to talk about from when Matt was from the bedroom on. Could Higgy have back to Fairview from the barracks with a Faraday bag, given the phone to Matt? That phone was handed to Kerry. Caitlin left it to, yeah, but you know what? We're not trying to solve the case. We're only trying to help each person with their own timeline. Could it have happened? Yes, but we're just pointing out the inconsistencies in their timelines and one person at a time. So, yeah, that could have happened. But, like I said, just want to go through their testimony, dash cam, cell phone, that kind of stuff. All right. Sorry. Back to this. So the fire apparatus just left. All right. Here we go.
The next time I spoke to my wife was an hour later. I received a phone call from her.
There you go. So 6:35, Jen sends a call to Matt. Mind you, people in the chat, I don't believe it either. I'm just going by what they're saying and what they're presenting to the court, okay? We know he was happy not to go outside, still in his jeans, still in his bedroom, looking out the window and thinking that, hey, I don't have to go. They're going to go find him on Tom Beatty's couch. So I'm going, go back to bed, hang out? I don't know. But he says the next call he gets is until. So this is the triggering event that he says caused him to go to 34 Fairview. There was no other reason for him to go to 34 Fairview because he said 6:35. She called him, so he heads to Fairview. Are you with me, Grant? Eric?
Yes.
So he has no, based on the testimony in court and this call log, Matt McCabe would have no reason to even know anything's happening at Fairview because at 5:35 he thinks his wife is just going off on an adventure and he doesn't want any part because he thinks it's crazy and he's going to bed.
Correct. Yeah.
So he says.
And Tom Beatty's you saw it on the map. Tom Beatty's just a couple streets away. Right? But like I said, that's where we are. So we're going to keep on going because I'm laying the foundation, folks. Oh, we're going to talk about foundation later with Grant and some other foundation that wasn't allowed. All right. Hey, Dennis and Brenda. Here we go.
I don't know the exact time, but I'm going to say about an hour, hour or so. I proceeded to finish getting dressed and drove over to Fairview. Much thicker snow, much more snow on the ground, much more snow to wipe off my car.
So he had to wipe off snow off his car. So, Grant, let's say, I'm teasing you, Grant. I'm not being mean here. Let's say you didn't have your rope belt for a belt, but you did want to put a real belt on and a shirt and head downstairs, get your jacket, shoes, boots, go out, clean off the car that has more snow on it than the night before. That's going to take you, 5-10 minutes?
Yeah, I think unless you're rushing, which he doesn't say he's doing.
It was a 19-second phone call. So, all right. So 6:35, he gets the phone call from the wife. He goes downstairs. All right. So say he's leaving at 6:45. He leaves his house. It's about 6 minutes from their house to Fairview, right? Add another 6 minutes from 6:45, right? You're in the 6:50s. Is when he should be getting there. Okay. Well, let's see what time he gets there.
When I got to Fairview, I had come down through the Chapman Street entrance, and as I proceeded down the hill towards the Albert residence, I noticed all the first responders, fire engine, et cetera, police cars.
He saw the fire engines, et cetera, police cars, et cetera. When he first came down, he saw them. And we know they left at 6:30.
Right? Didn't you just play us that video from 6:27 to 6:30? He hadn't even left his house at 6:30. According
Correct.
to him, unless
Correct.
he had.
Unless he had. And why would he pick 34 Fairview to go to? The original plan was to go to Tom Beatty's house. Why would he leave his house on his own, just on a whim? Wouldn't he go to Tom Beatty's house?
And there's no calls or any record of any communication between the people in the car and Matt McCabe between 5:35 and 6:35, right? The next call is 6:35.
6:35. Yep. Yeah. Next time you heard from his wife, we're saying they found John at Fairview. And that's the triggering event for him to go to Fairview.
Yeah, that whole timeline makes no sense.
Well, hey, get used to it because it's going to keep going.
And I realized I was not going to be able to get to the Albert residence because it was all blocking the street. So I backtracked, turned around, went back up Fairview.
Jess, just saying, I'm going to start this because I have an answer for that too. Because I already thought of that as that could be the answer, but we'll get there.
To the top to Chapman, took a left and took a left down Spring Lane, which is a parallel street to Fairview, and came down Spring Lane to Cedar Crest onto Fairview so I could get to the Albert household. Proceeded on to Fairview, and I parked the car along the side of the road because there was another vehicle in front of me. I believe the other vehicle might have been blocking the driveway.
Now, he goes on to say in testimony, I don't think I clipped it, but he goes on to say in testimony that it was Kerry's car that was blocking the driveway when we know it wasn't, because Kerry's car has never moved from the position it was in from when she showed up. There'd be a police car, which we can see in this photo right now, with the door open, that would be in front of Kerry's car, that would be at the mailbox. So he was wrong there too.
But there was another vehicle right on the side of the road as well.
What you recall?
Matt showed up at some point. Jen's husband, Matt.
And that was before you left, is that correct?
Yes.
And when her husband, Matt McCabe, showed up, which of those times was that, if you recall?
I think he was there when I left the first time. I just said, he said, I said, I'm going to get the O'Keefes. He said, do you want me to come with you? And I said, no. So he went in the house.
Okay. So they have a little quick powwow. He wants to offer to go because now it's treacherous. Before, he was happy to let his wife go out, drive around if she was going to Tom Beatty's house. But now, because they're going to the hospital, it's safer. He wants to go with her because now he's concerned. But we know she pulls away in 1 minute at 6:37, and Jen called him at 6:35. There's 2 minutes. And he had a conversation with her for, we're going to see that he's going to have a little 15-second conversation.
Hold on. I have to raise a question. I'm not even from
Right.
Canton. All right. But I have driven from Fairview Road to
Yeah.
Meadows Ave. And I have driven from Fairview Road, not to the McCabe's house because I didn't want to go in their neighborhood, but just to over where their house is. Unless he has invented a car that accelerates to like 140 miles an hour on residential roads and drive safely, he did not go there in 2 minutes. It did not happen. It's not possible.
Eric?
I'm with Grant. There's no question that didn't happen.
Yeah. I think Sherry, you're still driving. Grant needs a spreadsheet for all the times with the links to see. Grant, are you an analytical person, Grant?
Yeah, I think I was trained like so brutally analytically that I forgot how to have emotional relationships with the world. So I'm retraining that part.
Nothing wrong with that. Look at the people that you've been dealing with for the last 3 years.
People are like, Grant, emotions are so important. No, emotions are not a virtue in Canton. I'm sorry, they're a weakness.
Yeah. A lot of emotions lately. There's been a lot of emotions. All right, so here's 6:36. Kerry, her car is still there. Here we go.
Sergeant Good, or you want it? Pause it. Pause it.
Believe
All right,
it's
yeah,
going to
moving.
be Kerry Roberts and Karen Reed.
Now, I put the 15 seconds up. I will unpause it. If you watch the snow, she starts to pull away and stops for about 15 seconds. All right, so she started to pull away. Now just watch the snow. So it's not paused. She stopped.
At that point,
They still appear to be on.
and at some point, while you're at the scene, the lights come on. Justified that?
Yes.
I'd like you to pay special attention to that moment and maybe tell me to stop when you see those lights come on. It may be a minute or so.
Sure.
Now, pay no attention to the questions being asked between Alan Jackson and Officer Lank. Pay attention to Kerry as she drives away. We know she pulls in front. She has to pull away around that first police cruiser that had pulled up to her car. But watch the headlights, because now you'll see multiple headlights after it.
John, you got your echo? There's an echo somewhere.
No, I don't hear it.
Yeah, there's definitely an echo. The chat noticed it.
Really?
Just on the video when Alan's speaking, but not for any of us, I don't think.
Okay.
Yeah. Julie, is it, well, if we're talking right now, is there an echo? Just the video. Yeah, it's the video. It's the video, not us. Here we go. But you don't want to pay attention to the video. I mean, to the talking. We just want to watch the headlights. Yeah, it's the sound from the courtroom. But here we go. Watch the headlights.
At that point,
They still appear to be off.
and at some point, while you were at the scene, did the lights come on? I think you testified to that earlier.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like you to pay special attention to that
Just
moment.
please zoom it in.
You need to stop when you see those lights come on. It may be a minute or so.
Sure.
John, did I miss something? Or I thought there was only one car in front of her car. Now there appears to be two.
Because the second one would probably be Matt's. If he
This
pulled
is-
over.
This is 6:38 a.m.
Yep. And if he pulled over on the side of Fairview because there was a car blocking the driveway, we just saw her pull out from the spot that she had been in since 6 o'clock when she got there, when they first got there. And there was a car in front of her. She had to pull around to pull out with the car in front of her. And then there's still multiple vehicles behind her. So could he be telling the truth there? Yeah. Because he talked to her. She says he talked to her. They both said that they talked to each other before she left. Again, he got there too early. He
Oh my
false
God.
started.
Yeah, this is a smoking gun. First of all, thank you for showing this to me. This is a smoking gun. He did talk to her, but he screwed himself because he talked to her 3 minutes after he claims he got the call to go over there. He went there for another reason, whether it was on his own accord or some reason we don't know. I mean, there's no explanation for that. I'm sorry, that's him. That's them talking. His own words seal his fate. Why lie about that? It makes no sense.
Right. No clue.
I feel like he needed his sister-in-law to help him with the timeline, but that probably wasn't going to work out well either.
Listen, I figured out where they went wrong. They needed to call Sandra Bullock. She could have made them the timeline. They fucked it up. It's not about her being the actress. She could have made the timeline. She's a genius, I'm telling you.
I'm with you there.
Oops, sorry. Sherry, I don't know whose vehicle was the first one. I thought that was Mulaney's. Maybe it isn't. Maybe Mulaney's was the one further down, and that was Lang's in front. But it's still a police vehicle. It's not Kerry's, which Matt went on to say in his testimony.
I just want to be clear. The car driving away is Kerry right there. The one that we're seeing drive down the road is Kerry Roberts.
The car driving away is Kerry Roberts with now a blank area right there.
No car in front of the driveway.
No, none.
That second car behind the cruiser might now be in front of the driveway.
It could be. Yeah, you know what? It could be. The next one back. Right. So
that wasn't
right
there originally, but just showed up recently.
Right. So right now there's a vehicle that the police are right next to, an empty spot, another cruiser that would be in front of the mailbox, and now another vehicle with the headlights on.
And certainly it could be Lang's pickup. You know, he would have come from that direction.
Correct. Yep. Thank you, Dennis. All right, here we go.
Yes.
There you go. 6:39, the light went on. Remember this. Jen went in the house, 6:34. She called Matt, 6:35, ran up the stairs, and then at 6:39, the light goes on.
When I got to the front door, it was my wife, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, and Officer Lank. Yes, Officer Lank asked me to step outside.
Okay. This is Goody's vehicle, correct? Because he had come down the hill. Either way, I might be wrong on which officer's vehicle it is, but here it's only 6:53, according to his dash cam footage. Okay? At this point in time, Lank and Goody should be in the house interviewing the people in the house because they were in there for 15 to 20 minutes. Go ahead, Grant.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. So that's based on the testimony that when the light went on, which was 6:29.
The light went on at 6:39.
6:39. 15 to 20 minutes from there would be 6:54 to 6:59.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? So somebody is moving this vehicle. Don't know who, but someone's moving this vehicle into the spot that Kerry left. Now let's see that spot.
Now there's more vehicles back there.
Yeah, exactly. And here's the front door.
Looks to be
So-
two vehicles in the driveway.
Just two vehicles in the driveway. You are correct. People, you're going to hear some, because I had to super slow this down for a reason. So you'll hear some more echoing on this because there was no one talking, but there's noise. There's your front door. Lankers should be in the house at this point, 6:53. Goody should have been either pacing around the front yard or in the front door because he said he was walking around. And Matt should be in the house. But there's still only 2 vehicles in the driveway. There's your echo.
Now, the
And those vehicles are Nicole Albert's car in front near the garage, and then behind that is Brian Albert Sr.
Mhm.
With nothing else in the driveway.
So I got to think at this point, you got Mulaney, Lank, and then behind that would be Matt McCabe. And he wasn't able to pull into the driveway because Lank's car might have been in front of the driveway. So
Right.
he had to wait for Lank to move to pull in.
Right. Goody hasn't gone yet, Josie. It's not 7:00 yet. Remember, Gallagher's not there yet. So remember, Gallagher comes and takes pictures and sends Goody off. He hasn't gone yet. All right, so here we go.
before is this sort of the portion of the video?
Yes.
And using the laser pointer, if you could direct the jury's attention to the portion of the yard that you were talking about in indication of no footprints or anything that you observed in that spot.
Yeah.
Okay, so no footprints in the front yard. Snow's nice and clean.
Thank you.
No car in the driveway. Now,
No,
at 7 a.m., right? This is a picture from the trial in which Gallagher said he ordered the vehicles backed up so he could take a picture of what the area looked like when he arrived at 7 a.m. There you go, Sherry. Sherry's got it. Where's Brian Jr.'s car? And why is that snow untouched? Just like the front yard.
So just a question.
Mhm.
What is the testimony that puts Brian Albert Jr.'s car there? Something about donuts? Or just so I understand, when it's supposed to be there according to who?
Hold on one second. Josie, according to Coco, in her testimony in the first thing, hers is in the garage. If you go back, she testified that her car's in the garage. Julie showed up at 8:30 to put donuts in Brian Jr., her nephew's car. And when she pulled behind the car, Brian Sr. went to the front door and waved her into the house.
So, John, whose car is that closest to the left garage door?
That's not Brian Jr.'s.
I thought that was Coco's.
They have multiple. Remember they listed off 5 cars? That's not the caddy.
I don't know what it is.
Brian Albert had his department car and his own car.
Yeah.
That's his problem. That's what you're looking at is you're looking at Matt's vehicle now in the driveway at 7:13 in the morning, and Brian's probably his issued car and his personal car.
But definitely not Brian Jr.'s.
Well, how's she going to pull behind it?
Well, it's a loose term, She could have parked behind. She could have been the third one behind. I don't know. I mean, being the devil's advocate here, I'm just saying.
I get you, but this is what they once again. You ask these questions. You don't think the jury is asking these questions? Why do they have to make it so tough on everybody?
Matt should have left the damn
Car on the street.
Yeah, and then we could have figured it all out.
Well, because we're going to get to that too. So there's the snow, untouched. Couple seconds. Because he has changeling.
Jennifer McCabe is the time frame. How long after that did you finally go inside the house, after she'd been in the house?
So it was specifically just after I got off the phone with CPAC.
Sergeant Lank at the time, I believe he was on the phone with CPAC for the state police. I said, the lights just went on the front door. Let's go speak to the homeowners. And we both walked in.
Indicated that you believe you spoke
Hey, Grit, do you want us to take a little a break from this, and you want to come back? We have some other things that we can cut into.
No, I'm already back. I just need a 30-second summary of what I missed. I ran to get some water, actually.
Oh, well, you didn't miss much. You missed me and Eric arguing about the vehicles in the driveway and the pristine snow in the driveway in Brian Jr.'s donut car. Other than that, no, we're good. I'll check the Sergeant Goodbye. They moved the car during the storm. Where? The driveway doesn't show that they moved the car during the storm. But so now, Grant, we're at the point where they're asking Lank, excuse me, when did you go into the house? And it was right after he got off. The light goes on, and he hangs up with CPAC, and they go in the house, which we knew the light went on at 6:39. Here we go.
Mr. Albert and his wife, Nicole Albert, for maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Is that what you said?
Roughly.
And I believe Jen's husband, Matt, arrived almost the same time that I came downstairs, maybe a minute after.
At that time, we both left the residence, came outside, and at that time, Lieutenant Gallagher was arriving. We had like a little bit of a powwow, figured out what was going on, and I believe that's when we saw Jen McCabe's husband show up and walked in. And
When I got to the front door, it was my wife, Brian Albert, Nicole Albert, and Officer Lank.
I believe Matt McCabe entered the house after I had come out.
Okay. My issue with that is, and we're going to see this in a minute, that Gallagher arrives just after 7. Can you turn up the volume of the video? No, we're loud, but it was the court. It wasn't us. It was the court.
John, it's up as loud as it goes.
We couldn't hear during court either. That first trial sucked. You would think it's 2025 and they would have had microphones everywhere. The problem is Alan Jackson didn't stand at the podium. He moved around, so you couldn't hear his questions unless you had the volume all the way through the roof. So
Wait,
that's why
I can offer unique insight about this.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to speak very generally, but there was a negotiation about this. We wanted pop mics. We fought so hard for pop mics. You don't understand. We just wanted pop mics. They were like, no, that's why. They wouldn't let us put pop mics. We lobbied. We brought in the heavy hitters from Court TV. They still turned us down. We battled for you and lost.
What are those mics? Yeah. What are they?
So there's a difference between whatever that is. I'm not.
That's a directional mic.
Yeah, and so there was this very high level debate about pop mics. I don't know what the fuck a pop mic is. I was just there like a little towel, just like, I don't know what the fuck I'm in the middle of right now. And they're like, we need pop mics. I didn't know why. They lost the battle. That's what the consequence was. So just so you know, you all were not insane. We could not get pop mics.
Okay, there are mics in which you have to talk right into them. Then there are mics that you can be over here and they still hear you pretty good. The ones in that court, unless you were, you know what? I was watching someone else's YouTube earlier. Actually, 2 different YouTubes. It was happening all across the YouTube. So if it's pausing on us, it's a YouTube problem, not our problem. We also aren't streaming on Twitter at the moment too, because when we tried to start the stream, it didn't. It wouldn't load into Twitter. So it's not an us problem. It's once again, it's the internet.
StreamYard.
No, I don't think it's StreamYard because other shows had the same problems. Unless
I'll tell
everybody.
you. I'll tell you exactly what it is. It's the same reason Verizon went down the other day.
Yeah.
You can't just bluster that you're going to attack other countries, or they will shut down your fucking AWS servers and your internet. Like, welcome to modern warfare. It sucks.
Yeah, and the little people like us are the ones that pay for it. So, I apologize for the national agenda that's keeping us.
We're doing the best we can.
We're doing the best we can. It's not us. It's in the like I said in the audio. I know Grant. Freaking who knew? You know what? Someone actually put a post up like, who knew that Grant was going to be the. Hey, you know what? Grant's actually come up with like at least 3 or 4 already for us. He's bailed us out. They were going to use pop mics. I know, huh? Huh, Mullins? There you go. Who made that decision, Eric?
Who knows what?
Who's smarter, Grant Smith Ellis or us for having him on?
I'm going to take the credit for having Grant on. And Grant, we'll go with your way smarter than us.
Hey, it lands on red every once in a while, right?
And Grant, smoke him like you got him. No, this is the Kronk killer.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It drove me crazy during the first trial too. The minute anyone walked away from the mic, you couldn't hear anything. As soon as any of the lawyers, it was just an echo with the lawyers, and these people, like, I got the video of Matt adjusting his mic like 10 times while he was up there on the stand. But it is.
You see some shit in that courtroom off camera, like just some shit goes down in there, like about like it's all such a theatrical, stage managed production. You wouldn't realize it, but it is, and the microphones are a perfect example. They don't care at all. They like took glee that was like bad. Some of the staff, they were like, ha.
They were using the air conditioners as warfare.
Yep.
They were telling people, hey, if you can't speak up, we're going to shut the air conditioners off. I was in there, Grant. I was in there the day that one of the jurors almost passed out. I tell you, hey, I'm 300 pounds, okay? I'm a big fat F, right? I'm sitting there. I think this is why Jenna Rocco went home early. I don't think she wanted to continue to sit next to me. I think I squished her out. I'm sitting there and I'm trying not to move because I'm trying not to sweat. And I had a silk pocket scarf that I had to keep using because that thing was just drenched by like 1:30 in the afternoon. I don't think I'd ever want to go back to that courtroom again, ever.
The best part is I wrote the cannabis law with my friends here, and so I would go in there like using my medical cannabis. I smelled like weed all the fucking time. Eventually the court officer started saying, Grant, it smells like weed, but I can't do anything about that. But then they'd be like, if there's giggles from over there, I'm going to know it's you all though. And I was like, yeah, well, it's Massachusetts. Welcome to like the new world. It was hilarious.
So Grant, when you were in there and there was sidebars, could you hear anything, or was?
Yeah, so this was a big problem. I have, I don't know why, but I have very sensitive hearing. Like when I get up in the morning, I can hear like wind chimes from a few streets over. So I could hear everything they said at sidebar over that noise masking. And I'm a very honest person, so I kept telling the court officer, I can hear what they're saying. They would turn it up. They turned it all the way up. I could still hear what they were saying. To this day, I know things that I've never talked about because I heard sidebars because I could just hear it.
Yeah.
What'd you think about what you heard?
I think people are really going to like some of the sidebars that we haven't seen because I got some stuff very wrong, but I was like 50% right on the sidebars we have seen. And I was lip reading too. And Alan Jackson is very demonstrative. Dennis got a buzz. Yes, I remember that. Just contact high. But yeah, I remember lip reading and I was like, oh my God, Alan Jackson is onto something here. And that's when someone, I think earlier, Eric asked me, when did I start putting it together? One time at Sidebar, they were talking about something and I was like, oh my God. And that's when I put it together. I still can't talk about this. It was the second trial, but I was like, oh yeah, this is some shit.
It's amazing. And we're going to get into it because Grant had a question for us in the green room. And I told him, I said, you know what, Grant? Well, actually, we'll do it right now while we have a second. There have been times in three. So what are we on, year 4 now? Are we on year 4? Are we still on year 3? But either way, there have been times where every once in a while, it hasn't been a long time, but early on, every once in a while, you say, could we have been wrong? But then you'll go back and you look at everything and you're like, no, there's no way. How do you explain X, Y? Not even X, Y, Z. It's L, M, N, O, P, Q. It's like, how do you explain all of that? Like, could both be true? And it all started with it all started with me when they originally did the V-shaped snow tracks that she made a 3-point turn and left. And I'm like, the first thing I came up with was, I'm like, the wrong side of her car is damaged. Couldn't have done a 3-point turn. Wrong side of her car is damaged. And then everything just snowballed from there. It was like, nope. Well, now she pulled all the way up to the neighbor's house, and then Kelleher's house had no cameras, couldn't see anything. And actually, if you drive by his house now, there are cameras missing. There are cameras that have been taken down. Not just that he doesn't have the cameras out there anymore. There are cameras no longer there. So, but it just was one after another, after another, after another. If I was the homeowner, why would I fight to have my Ring doorbell not used? I would have been more than happy to I might not have wanted to give up my phone, but I damn well would have given up my Ring doorbell.
Well, yeah, and let me just say, I know where you're going with this is to ask like my theory about where these stories intersect and who might have had a reason to hide what. But just on the topic of Ring. So first of all, I just recently upgraded my security. I now have like every angle covered. Before, my front door camera was good because it's in a hidden elevated position. And I'd say I have to like the bottom right corner of the driveway all the way to like my left of my front yard covered. There, even though it's pointed down, I get all the way to the street. Now I get it's elevated above a normal position. Even if it were on top of the door, pointed directly down, the angle, even if it were like a 4:3, which it's not, everyone has a 16:9 probably. Okay, even if it's rendering in 480p to save bandwidth, it's 16:9 native resolution, which means you're going to see up. It would not just cover your walkway. So their explanation that he didn't want to turn it over or didn't feel he needed to because it was pointed at the ground. What? Okay, turn it over anyway.
Correct. Show us that there's nothing. Why the library only showed one thing, and or the temple, and you have all this extra footage. Turn it over.
Yep. And let's go to where the question was going, which is, what if, for assuming arguendo that there was an act of I got that from some lawyer somewhere. I don't know. Assuming for argument's sake that an act of God led to John O'Keefe being on that lawn, because that's the easiest way to take my theory. An act of God led to him being there. Why would anyone after that point have anything to hide? Well, what if they walked out of the house after, I don't know, doing things they shouldn't have been doing in the house? Take from that what you will. And then they see a body on the lawn and then they just leave. Even if, assuming in the light most favorable to them, they had nothing to do with the act of God that led to him being there, for argument's purposes, you can't just leave.
So for argument's sake, I would split the difference with you. I don't think, I mean, could it have been snowing outside? And inside, I don't know, maybe. I mean, but for people just to leave someone on the lawn, I don't know. I think at the end of the day, I think because there was some sort of altercation. At the end of the day, there was an altercation, and there was an accident. You ever see a fight gone bad? How about at the garden? A guy shoves another guy. He falls all the way down the stairs to the bottom of the rafter there. Not rafters, but you know what I'm saying. Stuff happens. All right, things happen. You hit a guy, he falls backwards, he hits his head, and then you're like, oh my God, what just happened? Now the guy that you're mad at, you're freaking out because it was just a fight, right? You really cared about the guy, but it happens all the time. Men fight all the time. Look at hockey. Guys will pummel each other. And then as soon as they're getting off the ice. They're not even at the penalty box. What do? They're patting each other on the back. They give each other a quick little hug. Good job, right? It happens. I think what happened, and this is just my opinion, I'm not saying anyone did it or not. I think there was an altercation and someone hit their head and they freaked out.
But taking either option, right? Let's take the timeline as it converges with John on the lawn. Whatever our explanation is, it converges with John on the lawn. Karen's gone by 12:32. We know that because she's back at Meadows Ave by 12:37.
You got it.
So therefore, my biggest question, and where I know we're going with this, is what could have happened between when Ryan Nagel shows up to, I don't know, maybe he brought cross-country skis and wanted to practice or something. I don't know how that works. I'm not an expert in cross-country skiing. So anyway, he's there. He leaves. They're there in the house, remember, from 12:32 until 1:30 when, strangely, Matt McCabe and Jen McCabe drive Julie Nagel home.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in a silo, Matt McCabe and Jen McCabe driving Julie Nagel home maybe isn't that weird. When you listen to Lindsay Gattani talk about what Julie Nagel did on the igloo cooler in front of the McCabes and Alberts at some party at Jen McCabe's sister's home, then you're like, what the hell were you all doing? How old is Julie Nagel? Why were you driving her home? What were you doing there? And I don't believe you were eating cake.
Grant, pause that. We're going to come right back to it. But somebody's got a question for you. And it's as of a couple of weeks ago, Grant, you thought Karen was, and I'm reading the question because Grant, like I said, I don't know when there was this epiphany or what, because there's been people on both sides. There's been people that thought she was innocent that has gone the other way. And now, so we're just going with, as a couple of weeks ago, according to this person, Grant said Karen is guilty. How? With everything everything, why, how, after 2 trials and all has come out, starting with Brian Albert not coming out of the house. So they want to know, with everything how, well, because he was, well, go ahead, you can tell us. It was in your preview at the beginning of the show. You had people.
So I think what happened was, the best way I can describe this is like the 401 and 403 rule for evidence. We all watch these trials. You can have relevant evidence that is not admissible. Why? Because it's extremely prejudicial. It tends to confuse the jury, or it's cumulative, or any number of reasons. Okay, relevant evidence that is not admissible. That means it's more prejudicial than it is probative. Same concept with procedural due process. You might have watched the Alec Baldwin Rush trial. In that trial, the prosecutors, during the first person who was charged, the armorer, when she was on trial, a person came to the courthouse with a box of bullets and said, hey, I sent these to the Russ set. This is from the batch. You should have this. The prosecutor sent the guy to the sheriff, who logged it under a case number completely unrelated to Baldwin, and it was withheld from his defense until the middle of trial. He moved for a motion to dismiss and won. Does that have anything to do with Alec Baldwin's substantive guilt or innocence? No. That was one minor substantive due process violation. I would need 7,000 pages of paper and more ink than I have in my house to write the procedural due process violations in Karen's case alone. You tip that scale to a certain point, then I have a problem with the prosecution because you violated the rules and you cannot prosecute a case regardless of the facts if you violate the rules.
Right. Twice. Two trials. They did it. They just never stopped doing it. You know,
this DA's office treats the rules, forget the rules of professional conduct under 3.8, the special rules for prosecutors. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice, by the way. I'm a towel. Forget the rules for prosecutors, the ethical rules. They treat the Constitution like it's a suggestion. Oh, the Fourth Amendment suggestion, 14th Amendment suggestion. I'm worried they think the 8th Amendment is a fucking suggestion.
Grant, you have to use smaller words with our audience.
Oh, okay. So I think they think the right against unreasonable search and seizure is a suggestion. I think they think the right to due process is a suggestion. And I'm worried they think the right against unreasonable, cruel torture and punishment is a suggestion.
Here's one.
John.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Don't be blaming the crunks for not understanding the big
Read
words.
the chat.
When you're the one that needs the big words explained.
Hey, they want me to read the chat. I read the chat. Okay, it's not my fault. They said
Blaming the crunks. Stop it.
The crunks. You guys want me to read the chat or not? You want me to include you? I mean, here's the thing. They tell you that their procedure is they're going to take the phone and put it in a Faraday bag. And then you watch on a body cam as a state trooper grabs a phone while it's still connected to Karen's attorney and just puts it in his back pocket.
Yeah, and then there's a lot about this that's very interesting. I know we have more with the McCabe video, but when we start talking about the digital forensics of all of this, Hexordia has gotten which is a company run by one woman.
Hold on a minute, Grant. Cough. Clear. You sounded like you took a little extra in that one.
Oh, maybe so. Hexordia, the company that did a lot of the digital forensics in the second trial run by Dr. Jessica Hyde, $13 million in DHS contracts, Department of Homeland Security. Like, I don't even want, and by the way, she's connected to Stephen Baranu, who's the special master person looking into Karen's cell phones. Like this, it gets wild. The second you start talking about digital forensics in this case, it's unlike anything I've ever seen.
And who is connected to the digital forensics in this case? Who would have connections with that kind of stuff?
Well, there are a few names that come to mind. Let's see. Who was the guy that sold his company that used to work for the Norfolk DA, and then it became part of what was that? Yeah, I don't remember. Axiom. Axiom. Was it?
What House defendant would also be connected to that kind of thing that might have a Department of Defense contract?
Oh, yes. So Matt McCabe, it turns out. Now, this gets so interesting because I love looking at federal contracts. Yes, and I'll tell you there's something that doesn't add up because Matt McCabe runs this firm. And from his testimony, did anyone hear anything about Matt McCabe saying that he is involved with Defense Department contracting? I watched those trials. I don't remember him being like, oh, yes, I run a high-level Defense Department consulting contract firm and I work with the Air Force. Did I miss that? Maybe I was sleeping that day.
No, I didn't hear that in any of this stuff. But now, I did see your post.
Yeah, you may want to show this because the records speak for themselves, but the records are also incomplete. And just what we have over the past 3 years is now federal contracts are a little complicated. There is something called an obligated amount of money. Then there is an amount of money the contract can go up to. And then there's what's called outlaid funds. That means the funds that are actually spent by the government on the contract. This firm got one contract that was obligated $19.3 million, has up to $36 million on the contract, but for some reason, $0 are outlaid. Now, you might say, what is this contract for? It is for Matt McCabe and his brother's company to provide high-level technical services to a shadow squadron at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, he just went out there because he couldn't get the contracts with the 60th Air Wing or whatever in Massachusetts. No, bullshit. They shut down the Cape Cod Air Force Base because Joint Base Cape Cod, because it's now the Space Force Base. So there are no fucking DOD Air Force contracts here. He's doing this out at Nellis because that's where you do actual, like, what do you think Groom Lake is? Like, what do you think that whole area is? It's not aliens. It's classified Defense Department aircraft projects, anti-gravitational projects, stuff you do not know about, not you two, but no one knows about, and he can't talk about. That contract.
The majority of up in Bedford, Mass, up at the at Hanscom, the majority of stuff that goes on at Hanscom is all digital and drones and computers and it's no longer the old-fashioned way of people where people think of the military. It's all cyber. Everything up there is cyber. And before I'm going to let you go back, but somebody else asked, again, they're spending lots of money on here because they want to know why you think she's guilty. He doesn't. He doesn't think she's guilty.
Right. I don't think people know what that word. If you file a motion to dismiss under Odell, DiBenedetto, or McCarthy, and you argue that there was prosecutorial misconduct or procedural due process violations, and you win, you are not guilty. I don't know what to tell you. That's my argument. I'm not arguing the substantive facts because I don't need to. We don't reach the merits. It's a procedural question.
Yeah, see, right here, programming. I know it's all computers up there now. Here's another one. Do you think she's factually innocent?
I think that you have to answer that question based on the jury's verdict. We are not the jury. Okay, nope. We have two juries. The first jury hung. The second jury came up with a verdict. Is she factually innocent of OUI? No. She's factually guilty. You cannot argue that the jury said that. Is she factually innocent of the two other charges? They exonerated her by acquitting her. The answer is yes. So it's a mixed bag. You've got to take one with the other.
Grant, if you were on that jury and you watched this trial from beginning to end twice.
Eric, wait. You got to, same question. You phrase it a little differently. Grant, would you have voted if you were on both juries, on the first one and you happen to be on the second one, would you have voted the same or different?
I think she was overcharged. So I think I would have gone. First of all, I don't like that the first foreman potentially knew Lally. It makes me really uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Second of all, I think she's overcharged. So if I were
first jury, how do you vote?
I would have gone in there and said, I think we're in a really tough position because anything that we find guilty under the first or second count is it's overboard. I would have hung. I would have said, I cannot vote for these charges because I don't think this is what they're presenting. Second trial, I would have been like, no chance am I voting for this because everything I know about this prosecution, like, why was this not granted a motion to dismiss? That's what I was going to say. Forget being a juror. Judge Cannoni, I'm sorry, something's wrong. That motion to dismiss should have been granted like immediately. Maybe not during the first trial. You can argue there wasn't enough out there. My review of the factual record, I would have granted the motion to dismiss. It shouldn't have been tried, regardless of the evidence. I'm sorry, there's too much misconduct.
So my question really is, in your heart, You've seen both trials. Where are you right now on whether did Karen possibly hit John with her car?
I don't think anyone's ever going to know the answer to that question other than Karen. And I don't want to ask her. Is it possible? She said it was possible at the very beginning. She'll tell you herself.
Yeah, no, I understand, but we watched all the evidence, and I'm not trying to answer the question for you. I just want to know how you feel based on all the evidence you've seen. Do you think that she killed John?
How about rephrase this? No, don't say that. Do you
How about
think?
Let me ask my question and let him answer.
Well, you can't say killed. How about? Do you think she backed into him and left?
Intentionally, definitely not. Is there a possibility, and I have said this before, I'm not going to back down from this position, which is her initial position. Is there a possibility that without her realizing it, they came into contact? Yes. Does that mean that that is the causal chain that caused him to end up on the lawn and die? No. What if he walked away from her car, slipped, and fell?
Okay, Grant, is there a possibility there was a fight and he hit his head?
The only thing I'm ruling out, because there's no DNA, is Chloe. Chloe was clearly a federal informant wearing a wire. She was cooperating. It was not Chloe. I'm ruling Chloe out. I'm not going there.
And what were the marks on his arm?
So
it was some kind of pig.
Chloe
it was a
flipped,
pack
is what
of,
you're saying.
Yes, Chloe flipped, and the marks on his arm were from a pack of feral pigs. I refuse to back down from that position.
Yes, there are pigs in that neighborhood.
Hey, to the chat at home, you know what? This is the first person we've had on the show that look at this. Eric, we've been looking for something where we're not always going to agree on stuff with people.
Right? Sakes, you and I don't agree all the time.
We don't agree all the time. We just yell at each other, right? But you know what? Kudos to you, Grant. You think the way you want to think, and you do it in a proper way, and you're not going after people, and you're not calling them all sorts of names just because they think differently than you. Everybody is allowed to think the way they want. They all saw the information the way we all saw the information in our own way. Nobody told me how to think. I watched it all. Okay? There's certain things that I think Grant, right? Do you hold certain evidence higher than other evidence, or do you hold it all exactly the same?
That's exactly right. I think I'm not a judge, I'm not a lawyer, but I think of it that way. I am weighing the evidence based on its admissibility, like its probative strength, its prejudicial elements. And then I'm also deciding, like, was this tried correctly? Like, if you don't try the case correctly, you cannot win. I'm just like, people have to, you can win by default. That means you won. That is a good thing. You don't need to win because you win on the merits. Just winning is good enough. That's what any defense lawyer will tell you. Win and get out.
I've never seen our chats. We've never had a chat that has been this vocal for any of our guests before. Grant, you're amazing. Let me just say, you're amazing, because the chat is both sides. The chat's, you know what, Grant, you've got something going. I want you to, you know what, I'm going to follow you more.
I don't know. Where you been, John?
I don't know. Grant, I judged you. Because you know why? Grant, I'll tell you, I avoided you because I didn't understand you. Right? And I didn't want to argue with you because I didn't know you. And I did watch different people's interactions with you. And sometimes I thought I sided with you, but I just never said anything. I think you're a really smart guy.
You know, Grant, I'm going to tell you that I have on a few occasions said to John, I think we should have Grant Smith Ellis on. And he kind of blew me off. And I don't know what I forget what I sent you yesterday, but it had to have been it had to have been the Twitter post and said, John, we should probably think about having Grant on. And 10 minutes later, he texts me, yeah, we got Grant. I'm like, there you go, John. You had a boy.
You know what, Joan? I've never smoked pot. and he's still all right now. If he starts talking gibberish, Grant, you're still above me on the rung of the ladder here. If you come down a couple pegs, I'll let you know to back it off onto some, decaffeinated. But
kudos to Grant too. He's the most functional guy I've ever seen. Stone.
Yeah, well, more than you. But this is the post. This is the post that Grant put up, and this is what he was just talking about a couple of minutes ago. Was Matt's Department of Defense stuff, and right there was this is the post that David Yannetti reposted.
Yeah.
Grant, you
Wait,
want to?
What's that?
No, two different posts.
Tell us about the one that David Yannetti.
Are we starting? Oh, so I didn't know if we were starting with the DOD contract or the David Yannetti post. I just need to get orientated.
No, yeah, my bad. Because I got so many boxes in my head open. Since I brought it up, let's talk about that Yannetti post. Is this the Yannetti post right here?
Yeah, if you could just scroll down so I could see the images.
Oh yeah, I got to go to my other screen. Hold on. Yeah,
that's the Yannetti post. Okay, so what I was doing was, it wasn't intentional. I was reviewing some discovery from a case that was turned over from the Norfolk DA in November 2025. And I was thinking about withheld discovery involving Kate Peter and things like that. But I saw a line in the discovery notice about Yuri Buchanan and Kate Peter working on a report from September 29, 2023 about the, quote, John O'Keefe MV homicide. And I said to myself, whoa, like there's no way that was turned over to Karen's defense. Why? Because I would have banged the table. I would have been running around Norfolk County, waving that thing around, being like, if I were Jackson or Yannetti, Mr. Jackson or Yannetti, I'm calling Kate Peter as a fucking witness. Like, I'm calling Kate Peter as a witness. Nobody did that. So I had this intuition that must have been withheld from Mr. Jackson and Mr. Yannetti. Okay, well, Mr. Yannetti engages with me because I think he's a very good lawyer from time to time. So I said, let me just tag Mr. Yannetti in a write-up about this, which I did. And I suggested directly in the post that this specific report was withheld from Mr. Yannetti. He reposted it. Now, did he say it was withheld from us? No, but take from that what you will. I think they withheld it from him, and it has big implications because of what Howie Carr wrote yesterday, which we can talk about too.
Yeah, keep going.
So Howie Carr, about 2 months ago, I reported that Marty Kraft, all right, if you're into like the connections in this story, Marty Kraft is everything. Used to be a Boston cop, started running a PI firm. Now, the reports are that Jen McCabe retained him initially in 2022 in February to monitor the visitors to Karen's home. Now, it turns out that Brian Tully retained Kraft in 2021 related to Sandra Birchmore and going around trying to keep that quiet. So that's a little weird. But Marty Kraft, all right, he's running a PI firm, and through his PI firm, I have reason to believe that Michael Morrissey subsidized his public budget with private funds from the McCabes to prosecute Karen Reed. And Kate Peter was involved. And they hid it from Karen's team so she couldn't ask questions about it during her trials. And that's wrong.
Absolutely.
Oh, and then Howie Carr yesterday confirms my reporting from 2 months ago that Marty Kraft lost his PI license sometime in November of 2025, and that Jen McCabe had retained Marty Kraft. All of this together leads one to an inescapable conclusion. Jen McCabe, Kerry Roberts, and others were prosecuting the case on which they were witnesses, and they hid it from Karen.
You mean are you trying to say that the scales were tipped?
Unlike anything I've ever seen. So
are you trying to say it was an unfair playing field?
Yeah. Yeah, it's incredible.
Go ahead.
In a silo Subsidizing a public prosecution with private funds is the most egregious abuse of prosecutorial discretion I've ever seen. If I were involved, if I were Senator Irving in 1973, I would be holding hearings and banging my damn gavel on the podium every 5 minutes and just demanding answers from these people. That was the least egregious thing they did. They had a private Discord server that Michael Morrissey was sending himself links to in his email. How do I know this? Because he's a fucking boomer and emailed himself a permalink that had the server's unique ID. No one would fucking know that unless you had Lindsay Gattani's phone extraction where that server ID was stored. The witnesses were talking on the Discord during the trials, and then Kate deleted it.
So, a two-part question. Do you believe any of them are going to get caught? And by meaning caught, will there be not just the fact that everybody else has seen what's going on? Do you think anything will be done about it?
Yeah, I'll tell you the big secret. It's not a big secret. Everybody knows. When in November of 2023, Josh Levy said to Karen Reed and her team, "We want you to give a rolling production of your case file." That's why David Iannetti's file was subpoenaed in a rolling manner. And we want to compare what Jen McCabe and her buddies in the Norfolk DA's office in Tully's unit turn over to you compared to our records. Why? Because the feds had a federal subpoena on Jen McCabe's records from February 2022 through April of 2022. Okay, well, why would they do that? That's called an obstruction trap. I don't know if you've ever heard an obstruction trap. Oh, it's a really great vehicle for... Did you know I got recruited by the DOJ one time? I turned them down. No, I'm serious. I was in my 1L class, and my professor was like, "You should go check for this file on the Canvas page." There were 396 files. The file to go to the DOJ recruitment event was not there. Reached out to her. She was like, "Oh yeah, you passed the test. Don't give this to anyone else." It was very scary. I can't talk more about it. I did. But the point is, I know a lot about the DOJ. I'm not in it. I'm not part of the government. Never been involved in the government. I don't know what the government is. So anyway.
Did you get for grade growing up?
Say it again.
What did you get for grades growing up?
It depended on whether I cared about what I was learning.
You cared or not. If you didn't care, you probably almost failed. But if you did care, you'd ace it, right?
No, I wasn't allowed to get below a B minus. So if I didn't care, I made sure I got an 80.
John?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
No, because he's what I would be if I was smart. Like I got the same ADD as him or ADHD as him.
Speaking
he just retains it all.
Well, speaking of that, what question was I answering? I'm sure it was very interesting. Could you just remind me of why I was going on about the DOJ?
Do you think that, that something will happen to that?
Yes, 100%. So obstruction traps are a great vehicle if you want to catch someone like who you think is cocky and thinks they answer only to God, like the state police and their friends.
Right.
Because what you do is you go to someone like Karen and say, "Hey, don't say anything, but like we're going to use you as a cooperating witness and we're going to use your trial to catch these people obstructing justice." So why do I believe this? Well, they did it to Jen McCabe, definitely. And then they did it to Michael Proctor. How do I know they did it to Michael Proctor? Because the timeline, and you love timelines, perfectly lines up. Karen Reed finds out about Michael Proctor's text about her through the federal subpoena sometime in 2023, 2024, around there. But in reality, what the feds were doing is they were collecting 13 years of Michael Proctor's cell phone records. And I bet they told Karen, "Hey, listen, it's great that you want to use some of this stuff. We want to help you. You can do it. But please do not tell Michael Proctor or the Norfolk DA or anyone for that matter that we know that he's going to withhold stuff in the Miles King case and stuff, because that's not going to get heard until after your trial's done in 2025. So when Michael Proctor's lawyer in July of 2025 says to a judge that Michael Proctor got rid of his old phone in November of 2024 and that his new phone auto deletes every 30 days, the DOJ loved that because then 60 days later, they dropped 13 years of Michael Proctor's cell phone records, proving he lied and obstructed justice in at least 7 different criminal cases he prosecuted. He then instantly dropped his appeal, and worse, there was an SA victim's name on those texts along with intimate pictures of third parties and racist slurs, and probably much worse.
Now, it's a small little curve I'm going to throw you. Hopefully it's not a long answer, but do you think that any of the pictures on Michael Proctor's phone originated from another state trooper? I won't say any names. I'm just saying another state trooper. Could those pictures have come from another state trooper, and that now that they have his phone, it's going to open up to other state troopers being in trouble?
I think it really depends on the date. I think every person who's close to this wants to know who is that SA victim. Because if it was prior to February 1st, 2021 at 9:27 p.m., yeah, they got problems. They got big problems.
There you go. I like the way you think, Grant. Well, yeah.
Grant, have you done any dive into Sergeant Good's issues? And if so, what are you thinking there?
I think he's done. He probably knows it too. And I don't know. Occam's razor, he said something stupid about his defendant. Worst case scenario, it's Birchmore. Everybody knows it's Birchmore. Everybody knows it's Birchmore. Everybody knows it's Birchmore. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you.
Grant, you're going to see it's going to be multiple.
Yeah. And I want to make this point. We were talking about obstruction. What is obstruction? You don't charge obstruction if you're the feds. Do you read about the feds charging obstruction? No. They don't even charge 1001 in a vacuum. Those are RICO predicate offenses. You know, it's a really good vehicle to get an organization that gives orders and doesn't do things directly. RICO. Perfect RICO case.
Now, do you also think a lot of this, Karen Reed included, the case, not Karen herself, it's no longer about the law, it's about politics.
It's very political. It's very political because, how do I even explain this? Okay, so it's political because President Trump wasn't supposed to get elected in November of 2025. No one in the intelligence community thought President Trump was going to get elected. He wasn't supposed to live. They clearly tried to take him out. It's horrifying. I like President Trump. I'm not okay with that. He liked Mike Towell, Grampy. You're nice to Grampy. I like you, so I was pissed about that. You don't do that, President Trump. So anyway, the point is I was pissed about that, but it was also, I know how the intelligence community works, and that is they were not expecting him to win. Josh Levy thought he was going to be in that office for another 4 years. The Biden White House was not run by Joe Biden. It was run by the fucking Democratic establishment. He was a fucking puppet. He could barely function. So they were just running these fucking offices with no accountability, it was just do whatever the fuck you want. It was crazy. So Levy realizes he loses. Leah Foley's coming in. You have to understand the political orientation of this new Department of Justice. They dropped all consent decrees with police departments almost immediately. They immediately announced the end of the O'Keefe-Reed federal probe, but because they don't go after cops. But you got a bigger problem here. They shut down the public integrity section in the spring of 2025 as well. That leaves only Bill Abley's criminal division in the Boston DOJ. Therefore, what's the only case that's continuing? Matthew Farwell's. Therefore, the second superseding indictment and then the death penalty going off the table 2 weeks later means he's cooperating. They're going after the people that were grooming Sandra and other girls into a brothel in Stoughton that was populated and patroned by cops, and they're on to them. They're on to them. I know it.
There you go.
Grant, what do you think about Adam Deitch's candidacy for Norfolk County DA?
Yeah, people have got to understand this. It is incredibly, incredibly disrespectful for the people on social media to be attacking active prosecutors in the Department of Justice right now, because Adam Deutsch did not run for Norfolk DA by accident. Adam Deutsch did not leave the DOJ right as Proctor's phone got dropped, right as the second superseding indictment came for Farwell, etc. He knows everything. This was approved. They sent him to run for Norfolk DA so he could get access to the files that Morrissey and Tully have been hiding. And it is going to be apocalyptic chaos. He's going to win. He has 96% support in early polls. And I know what the field polls are saying. Trust me. He's going to sweep that election, and they're terrified. They are some of the people on social media close to the prosecution, the Norfolk DA's office and the McCabe's and Alberts, are threatening federal prosecutors. How desperate, how scared do you have to be? If you're so in the hole, you're threatening them. It's over. They're coming for them.
So, Grant, do you think that the building at Norfolk at Shawmut Road, the DA's office, has purchased a new shredder? And are there going to be any backyard bonfires? Campfire, bonfire. However, it depends on how many boxes get brought over.
I know.
Yeah, I heard it said once that if you have one of those little devices, you can scan for bugs. But what people should understand is that the government is 50 years ahead of civilians, and they launder back-end internet and cell phone data through Five Eyes, which are like New Zealand, Germany, France, UK, etc. They don't tap you with a bug. They have everything you've ever done in real time, and you cannot find out about it. That's what they're doing to these people. It's over. Like, they don't need a shredder. They need a very good federal defense attorney, and that's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
Modern day Al Capone. When Al Capone went to court with all the lawyers that he had, it's going to be a similar thing. You're going to have people with 7, 8, 9, 10 lawyers in there. But
I don't think. Oh, and that's the other thing we should talk about. Brian Walsh's lawyer found in the TUI materials that was turned over to him.
And that was no. She was the what was Brian Walsh's lawyer?
Larry Tipton.
Yep.
Great public defender. But the point is, by the way, Brian Walsh got stabbed almost immediately after he got Proctor's phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of stabbings happen in the Norfolk fucking County House of Correction.
Things happen. That's why.
But that's not the bombshell. They got the TUI materials, and it's an index. I don't know if you followed the discovery in the Walsh case, but they weren't allowed to really see the federal materials. It's this very complex process under 28 CFR 16.26 through 27. You can read about in section 25 of the DOJ operations manual. Anyway, the point is, in that specific section, you can get, if you're an attorney, like an index of TUI material, which is what Tipton got. He misread. This is big, by the way. I don't think people understand the implications of this. He misread the TUI materials and asked for a copy in discovery from the Norfolk DA of an NDA Brian Tully signed on March 7th, 2024 with the DOJ about, quote, an ongoing investigation of the performance of the state police. Okay, let's think about a few things.
Hold on. Hey, are you reading this, or is this coming out from memory?
Didactic memory.
I just want. I know. I see.
You just want to confirm that he's smarter than you.
Yeah. I just. You know what it is I already knew the answer. I'm watching the chat. I'm watching Grant. I see him close his eyes now and then, and he's just going with it. And I'm like, people, you don't understand how much information that this kid's got in his head. Okay,
he's not a kid. He's a gentleman.
Yeah. Hey, Grant, what number are you on? What number cigarette are you on?
Oh, my towel cigars. I think I'm on like three.
Cigars.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Hey, we gotta get back. We've jumped a little bit, but we gotta get back. We gotta get back to Matt.
I want to, but you want to hear this because
Go ahead.
it's
I'll
not
hear
an
it.
it's not an NDA that Tully signed.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
CDL investigation was over by then. We know that
Correct.
ended in January of 2024.
Cedar Crest or whatever his name is. Cedar Crest or whatever his name is. The big guy there.
Yeah, and then
Yeah. Thank you,
there is
Joseph.
no NDAs when you're the target of a federal investigation. In December of 2023, Brian Tully asked Lindsay Gattani who the targets of the federal probe were. She told him Michael Morrissey, and his jaw dropped. Why would Brian Tully sign an NDA? Mind you, there's no NDAs. He didn't. He signed an NPA, and Tipton misread the notation. It was a non-prosecution agreement. He offered a proffer and got a queen for a day.
Queen for a day.
And that's been going on since 2024.
So
whatever they're building is huge.
So Grant, what do you think's next for Tully?
Whoever fathered Sandra Birchmore's child, which I think was John Fanning, is going to federal prison. Everybody else is probably going to cooperate. I think at least Fanning is going down. That's the best I can give you.
What do you think? You think Tully is a confidential informant?
No, more like what is the word? Like cooperating witness, but like in exchange. I wouldn't call him an informant. He proffered.
He gives him everything.
Yeah, like why did you? John Fanning was Tully's partner for 20 years. Like what? Tully, why'd you let him do this? Here's why. Here, Tully, were you going to the brothel? No. All right. Well, I guess we don't have to charge you. That's what I would guess.
Well, let me ask you the same question, but change the name. What do you think is going to happen with Michael Morrissey?
So that's the wildest part. If you look at another letter in the Walsh case about Proctor's phones, Michael Morrissey retained Michael J. Sullivan to represent him. Michael J. Sullivan was a U.S. attorney in Massachusetts. He now works for John Ashcroft's firm, the former U.S. Attorney's General. Bro, he's not going to prison, but he knows some shit, and he's not. I don't think they're going to get him. I think my sources, and I have pretty good sources in Democratic politics in Massachusetts, told me that it's not Michael Morrissey, it's the people around him. And if that's what they told me, then the feds probably feel the same way.
So we know Farwell didn't know that he wasn't the father, right? And we know Fanning had a meeting with Farwell, another one of those professional courtesies where he asked him all these in a parking lot, asked him all these different questions. What if Fanning, who knew he was also having relations with Sandra, but Farwell didn't, but Fanning was trying to sniff out Farwell to find out if Farwell knew about Fanning?
Yeah, I think it was even worse than that. I think there is an unknown person in the IA report who says to the investigators that they didn't admit it, but they were confronted with evidence that they threatened Sandra. And the threat was, if you don't pay the money you owe to the girls who are in the dorm/suite with you, then we're going to reveal your connections to the Stoughton Police Department. Okay, so that probably wasn't Matthew Farwell or William Farwell or Robert Devine who made that threat. Why Sandra lived alone in an apartment in Canton? What dorm suite? What money owed to what girls? And why was she being threatened over it? Who was the pimp?
Wow.
If it was
Eric?
God forbid, if John Fanning, like we know Devine texted Sandra on the day of her death, but God forbid if John Fanning had any contact, oh my God, it's all like he has to go to federal prison. They have no choice.
And this is why we had Grant on tonight. You guys just got. I, Eric, I didn't know it was going to be this deep.
Well,
Yeah.
you got to trust
I
me
knew-
now and then, John.
I knew he had. I knew he had information in his head, and I knew Grant. I let you. It's not even rambling. It's just getting the information out there in such a way. Some people, I think it's been amazing so far. I want to thank G.I. Josie, $99. How come it didn't go up? Wait a minute. Let me put that up because let me get through some of these the super chats, and then we got to get back to Matt because people are here for Matt. Real quickly, Matt and Jen specifically. Huh? Oh, they have for Grant. Of course they were here for Grant. And they were here for Grant, and we're not even, like I said, we didn't even make it to.
I mean, if Matt wants to come on the show, he's welcome.
Right. Tonight was strictly YouTube only. This was for our YouTube members only. This was almost like a members only. Matt and Jen specifically wanted to watch Sergeant Good's dash cam footage. That's why they wanted to see if you could see Matt's arrival, in my opinion. Absolutely, Sherry. I believe in that one too. Glamour Sue's new member. Then there's, hey, before I click on the other one, last week I misread one of our Kronks. I hope you're still in here. I apologize for misreading it. Like I said, I don't have my glasses on. I made a couple little jokes, and I apologize. I shouldn't. I try not to, say inappropriate names on people other than my own. Right? Okay. When is the second ambulance there for Karen? We're getting to it. We're going to get to that in a minute. Grant, can you Grant? We've had a lot of these. There's a lot of people because you've now switched, right? They all are on the same team as you, and they all want your content. So I think you have a lot of people that they want you to unblock them, please, if you could.
Okay. So I just want to let people know. If it's Twitter, just let Laura or Jenny Boom know. Apparently, they're very good at helping me unblock people. If it's YouTube, you have to send me your actual YouTube ID because I don't know if you've ever gone into the YouTube block feature in the back end. It sucks.
We try not to
block.
Why
we don't like to block.
Yep, and I don't do it. I don't do it anymore. But if you're talking like from 6 months ago, yeah, you have to give me your ID, and I have to go in there and manually do it. I will do it, but I'm just letting you know I wish it were a click of a button. It's not.
Yeah, to me, it's just delete the comment. It's got to be something egregious in order to block. It's something that Eric and I just don't believe in. Like, it's just easy to block. Just delete a comment. Grant Smith Ellis with everything. Do you know? How can you believe? Oh, we already went through that. Karen's not guilty. We did this one. We read this one a couple of weeks ago. Guilty. Grant. before we go back to the video, were there any pricks and sighters in that igloo cooler that what's her name? It's got a Y name. Lindsay. Were there any pricks and sighters in the igloo cooler that Lindsay was sitting on? And why not a Yeti?
Well,
you want to get into the cooler or no? You don't have to. We're just asking.
Oh no, I sent a link in the chat. There's a text message you might want to bring up on the screen. Now listen, we don't have to do a dramatic reading, but this is what Julie Nagel sent to Lindsay after the igloo encounter. All right, and I just want people to maybe have an opportunity. You've seen Julie Nagel testify, but have you seen her text messages at 12 in the morning asking to hook up with Lindsay? I bet not.
I see it. Oh, shoot.
John,
we'll take a vote.
This might be a good spot for a word from our sponsor.
Oh, yeah, we might as well. We might as well have a quick word from our sponsor, if we still have one.
Careful. Once you have had a Pricks Insider, you will want it all night.
There you go. There's a word from our sponsor.
Yeah, we're going to send you a case, buddy.
Yeah. Do you do we bring it up, Eric? What do you think? Do we bring it up? Here's Grant.
We bring everything up.
No, here's the thing, Grant. I struggle with this because here's the thing. unless it's an elected official or something like that, I really would rather not bring up a private text. We can talk about it. We can definitely talk about it, but I really don't want to share it.
That's reasonable. I think the reason I let people know it exists is it's not just Lindsay's word. If you want to go read the text, you wouldn't believe what I'm about to tell you.
Wait a minute. You're talking about the text in which Julie Nagel says, "At least make out with me," and now you hate me, and walking away is crazy, but I understand, and I want to make out with you. That text?
Yeah. So that text, just to explain the context, we don't have to share it, but a few hours earlier, those two very nice women were on an igloo cooler. And Lindsay has told the story on multiple platforms. I'm not saying anything she hasn't said. I'm just summarizing it. They were on an igloo cooler in front of multiple McCabe's and Alberts. I have the full list. It was like Michael Proctor's mom or her sister or his sister. Brian Albert. I don't know if Brian Albert Jr. was there. Colin Albert was there. Colin Albert's mom. Kate Peta, Jen McCabe, her sister, and then a few other people.
It was a shindig.
Sure. And Lindsay and Julie Nagel were sitting on an igloo cooler. And, listen, I think people should love whoever the fuck they want. Okay. Whether they're on an igloo cooler or whatever. But, maybe don't like grab people's asses like in front of a whole group of people on an igloo cooler like they're a fucking show doll. And then they have to like awkwardly go away from you. That's weird. It makes it seem like it's voyeurism.
Booze does a lot of things to people. It makes you do silly things.
Yes, but the context is it's in front of a group of people who are just looking at this, and the only person who has a problem with it is Colin Albert. And then Colin Albert goes over to Lindsay and brings her away from that, and they're just talking, right? Like 2 steps down from the porch. As Colin Albert goes to start talking to Lindsay and etc., his mom comes up screaming because Kate Peter lied to Colin's mom and said Lindsay and Colin were going to hook up. Okay, something's going on. Colin knows some stuff about some stuff, and I'm telling you, there's weird stuff over there. That's my comment.
Yeah, weird stuff. Yeah. He's rolling the next one. Let me get through these. Let me get through the rest of these super chats, and we'll let Grant get that last one going, and then we'll finish with a little more Matt. Here's another one. Grant, do you believe the injuries on John's arm, no broken bones, are consistent with the damage due to the tail light? Do you think a tail light could cause those injuries?
That it's so far beyond like the terminology, even asking me the distinction between an abrasion and a laceration, like I'm not qualified to answer that. I've listened to experts talk about it, but I cannot tell you the difference even between a laceration and abrasion. So I don't know.
Okay. I'm almost there with you. My thoughts are on this is if a vehicle traveling at let's just say a decent speed, hits a person, okay, just in their arm, right? The way they want to, the pirouette. If a vehicle travels at a speed to pirouette a person, those marks, so normally it's all about force, right? When that force comes into contact with your arm's not going to stay there for more than a millisecond, right? Before that force drives your arm the other way and pirouettes you around. In order to make that many marks across that amount of his arm, there would have had to been that many pieces of the taillight still intact, making those. But if they're just disintegrating, they're not going to be doing those straight moves. And that's what got me. So and that's just my answer. That's, my answer.
Yeah. And I don't think, I think the speed, the nature of the glass and plastic,
right.
There's not enough there for me to say that there was like chunks of the plastic in his arm. There's also not enough there for me to say that it was a dog. So I'm probably somewhere in the middle, which is the injury happened somewhere between the car and the lawn.
Yep. I have one more that G.I. Joe Silu. I don't know why I can click on it and read it, and I can't find it to put it up, so I'm just going to read it. Thank you for your super chat. It says, she disagrees with Grant. White collar crimes. Number 2 is directing Cox's moves. He is now leaving Boston Police Department. Who was Higgins working with from 2018 to 2022? A working partnership with Cross, Higgins, first 13 minutes. Are you at liberty to say, Auntie Bev, keep digging and read faster? That's as fast as I'm going to be able to read. Hopefully, so that's somebody asking you about who was Higgins working with?
So I think the answer, first of all, if I was aware of anything classified, I wouldn't tell you. Second of all, I don't pursue that information. And third of all, my best guess is thus. Okay, so you all will probably like this. What is 128 and the fucking 24 junction and the 93 split, if not the primary drug trafficking corridor from New York City to Quebec? Sorry, that's what it fucking is. It's 95. That's it. Okay, you don't take 84 through the fucking pike. No, you take 95. It makes sense. All right. Canton is probably one of the biggest like junctions for drug trafficking and arms trafficking in this area. It's a perfect place to run what's called a task force. Now, you might have heard of the JTTF. That's one task force. There are a lot of task forces you don't know exist. He was on a task force that operated out of the Canton Police Department. He didn't just have an office there because he was Berkowitz's friend. That was a very specialized ATF task force. His handler, one other thing, say there was a motorcycle club in Taunton. Do you think you just send an undercover ATF agent in there with a wire? No, there's a local detective, a state police detective, 2 FBI agents, and an AUSA assigned to that undercover. That was Brian Higgins. So to answer that person's question, it wasn't Higgins' connection to Cox that caused Devers to get in trouble, because I think that's what they're getting at. It was that Higgins wasn't moving his fucking car at 1:30 in the morning. He was hanging out with Berkowitz.
Yeah. So I try to tell people this all the time. Just because you have a bad cop doesn't mean that there's other things that he's not doing correctly or his job in, right? He might be slacking over here and doing stuff that he's not supposed to be, but sometimes he's doing the right thing. And this came up, Eric, remember when we talked about Kevin Albert and Proctor going down the Cape? Everybody thought it was a red herring and that it wasn't real. And no, we talked to, my family knows the family that they were doing this for. They were doing the right thing. Were they taking liberties on their way home and going to the bars and doing that? Yeah, absolutely. But sometimes, you have cops that are doing the right thing, but they're doing the wrong thing in these other sides too. And some people don't understand that, that it happens.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that the reason why Higgins and Berkowitz were there at 1:30 in the morning was because Higgins was an undercover ATF agent. I'm saying that's ostensibly why Higgins had an office there and what he was doing for those years. This is bigger, though. Kelly Devers did not get pressured to lie by Commissioner Cox because Higgins was moving his Jeep. Bro, just say Higgins was moving his Jeep. They were hanging out. Remember, Karen's car doesn't get to the Canton PD till 4 or 5 p.m., whatever it is, later that day. This is 1:30 in the morning on January 29th. Devers has worked from noon the previous day. She's on a double. She's
No. So Devers was in. So the night this happened. Okay, and this is really kind of the night of the storm. You have 3 out of the 4 patrol officers at Canton Police. Sarif technically was in the parking lot of the church next door to the police department. Dever was in her cruiser, and so wasn't Mullaney, because if you go to the first trial, you will see they show the dash cam footage of Sarah leaving the church next to the police station and heading down Chapman Street. He goes Washington to Chapman to Fairview. You see Mullaney pull out of the police station, and he goes Dedham Street, to Dedham Street, Cedar Crest to Fairview. And she testifies that she was behind the station and that she went inside so that Goody could go down. So they were all just hanging out there the night before. Then she's in the station all day, right? We have no clue. So why do we not have the same footage of when we see Higgins in the driveway moving vehicles, right? Why do we not see the same footage of her walking to her car leaving so that we can prove when she actually left the police station?
Yeah, so that's what I have a question about. So I looked at the shift report, but that doesn't mean the shift report is when she actually worked. She was working the day before, the 28th.
Yep.
Okay, and then she stays overnight. She's ostensibly working dispatch. Am I wrong about that? She's working dispatch.
No, she was in her cruiser, and it wasn't until after the call when Goody's on dispatch. Goody tells her to come inside off her cruiser to work dispatch so that he could go down at 6 o'clock in the morning.
And that's okay. So what I need to understand, and this completely confuses me, why would Devers have been near monitors? Because this is a very important part of this whole question about Berkowitz and Higgins. Why would Devers have been near monitors at the time that Higgins and Berkowitz were there early in the morning?
No, that's in the afternoon at 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30 that afternoon.
No, I have to raise a question about this because I remember Higgins' testimony. His excuse for not going right home after leaving the 34 Fairview at 1:30 was he had to go to Canton PD to move his personal vehicle. I'm talking about that specific moment in time.
Goody was on the desk.
Okay, where was Devers?
In her cruiser behind the station.
So here's what I don't understand. Why is it, and I believe that this is actually what happened, why is it possible Devers at 1:30 or 2 in the morning, somewhere in there, we don't know, around there, possibly saw Berkowitz and Higgins together in the Sallyport?
You got it wrong.
That was in the afternoon. That was like after Karen's car had been transported to the Sallyport.
Correct.
So she is still there.
She worked it over. It's a blizzard. Instead of being up at wherever, some section of town, they all hide behind the station because nothing really goes on in a blizzard. And they only leave if there's a call. So Saraf's next door at the church, sitting in his cruiser. Mullaney is in his cruiser. Devers in her cruiser. It hits 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning when now the 911 call comes out and everybody goes down to Fairview. Goody, who's been on the desk, tells Dever, you come in, you sit on the desk, I'm getting down there. He goes down there and she's on the desk for the rest of the day.
So when she's on the desk later, she then is looking at monitor. So we don't exactly know what Higgins was doing at 1:30 in the morning. We don't know where Devers was.
Well, we see his movements in the surveillance cameras at Canton PD.
Right. You got to see him try to do the surveillance. Right.
And we know what times he was there.
You obviously didn't watch our show the other couple of weeks ago.
I wish I could. I wish I had, because this is now blowing my mind more.
Grant, we need to get you to crunk status.
I know. You got to get up.
This is very
you know how you have that brain for all that section 6.2579531. Well, go ahead. You asked me about the police station. I'll get you with those. I can answer your police questions.
This is exactly what I need, because Higgins. This means that Higgins was there twice that day.
No. No. Wait. So he goes there at 1:30 because folks, I had the exact numbers a couple of weeks ago. I had them all up on the screen. He goes there to move the vehicles, right? So he pulls in the Jeep. He goes inside. He goes into dispatch for about a minute, talks to Goody for a minute. Then he goes upstairs for 6 minutes, comes down, and let me back up. When he first gets out of his Jeep and he's walking towards the police station, he's texting on a phone. We don't know which phone he's texting on, but he is texting on a phone. He then goes in the police station, goes in, talks to Goody for a minute, goes upstairs, gets his keys, comes down 6 minutes later, goes outside. He's on a cell phone. We don't know what cell phone, but that's what, 1:28 in the morning? I think that was 1:28 in the station. It's like 1:36. 1:36, he's walking out. He's on a cell phone, right? He then moves a car that's on the back end of the parking lot somewhere, not into the middle where his other two vehicles are, or three vehicles include the Jeep. And then you see him move the duffel bag, all this stuff, and then get in the Jeep and leave. He then, in the morning, gets the phone. Remember, my phones are blowing up. His phone's blowing up because Berkey was calling him or texting him on one phone that he wouldn't answer, and Brian Albert on the other one. He goes to Brian Albert's house. He's there at Brian Albert's house until about 9 a.m. because he key swipes into Canton Police at 9:26. He's at Canton Police the majority of the day. He leaves at lunchtime and he goes plows a girl's driveway for her, comes back, and he's at the police station the remainder of that whole day. That's the day you're thinking about that Dev is sitting on the desk watching him in the Sally Port with Berkey. How'd I do?
And what time? That was perfect. That was incredible. I value your knowledge of this in a way I don't know if you understand. It's very helpful. I'm incredibly impressed.
Yeah.
What time did Berkowitz and Higgins appear on the video in the Sally Port?
That's the Sally Port. That's the inverted Sally Port video in which you do see Higgins shaking hands with you see Berkey shaking hands with Proctor and Yuri early on. That's around when it started, like 5:30 is when it all started. Yeah.
Is there any? So, what was Alan Jackson nailing down on with regards to Dever about her initial memory about Berkowitz and Higgins, and what time was that supposed to be at?
Okay, so her initial memory is, remember, so she's sitting in her cruiser. Goody tells her to come inside at 6 a.m. and sit on the desk. She sits on the desk all day. Okay, this is technically overtime for her now. Okay, now she sits on the desk all day, and at some time at 4:30, now that shift is over, and someone's got to replace her. But everything's going on. The car's coming back to the station. When you watch that footage, I think I put like 6 or 7. I put numbers over every one of the offices that are down in the Sally Port. She's not going straight home. And if she was, they would have showed us the footage of her walking to her car or something like that. So she's still hanging around. She's probably hanging around in dispatch. Is she on duty, off duty? We don't know. But she saw something on the monitors. She reported it. And then she was presented with her timesheet that said you couldn't have seen this because you weren't on the clock anymore. Got it?
Okay, and this was sometime between 4 and 5:30.
In the evening of the next day, yeah. The day John was found. It was a false memory, yeah. Yep.
All right, well, that's a lot for me to think about because he doesn't really have any reason to be there that day. Not at the police station, not during an accident.
Correct. In his testimony, he said, "How could you sleep?" I mean, so basically he went to 34 Fairview, and a couple of weeks ago when we went through this, basically it was like, well, why didn't you answer? Why would you, if Berkey was your friend and he calls you all the time in the morning, why would you blow him off until you talk to Brian Albert and then you talk to Berkey? Why? Because you had to know, hey, what's the story? What do we tell Berkey?
And not even that, like, it's really not a good look I didn't realize, and I don't know if it's because it all got compressed. I thought I thought Higgins was only at the police station that day to move his car. it is ludicrous to me that he went back there and hung out there that next day. That's outrageous.
Okay. Except for at lunchtime when he went out and plowed someone's driveway, someone that he met at the hillside the night before.
And it did all get condensed for me, of course, because as much as I have my memory, like I have to like compress some things, and all of that became one. It's even worse when you lay it out.
See, I can recite it all back. I can't recite the like you can do chapter and verse. The exact my whiteboard's upstairs. It's still I could go up to my whiteboard and read it all right out to you, but yeah, I mean I can tell you I have that memory. It's like when you watch a movie. You know, how many people watch a movie and they know the lines coming up, right? And they say the line at the exact same time, and sometimes you only see the movie once. You know, like Leap Year, or even like Pitch Perfect. I can tell you all this stuff. You know, make good choices. You know, there's all these different lines that you can, that you see it once. We've invested so much in these trials for the last 3 years. I don't know how many times I've told people I have recorded, screen recorded so much testimony. I probably have almost 90% of the trials in my phone at one time, multiple times, because I keep going back to look for something and I grab it and I'm like, and it hits you. You're like, oh, when did he say that? Who said that? Where did, like today, when we go back to the footage, I had to keep remembering, when did they show that dash cam footage? When did they show that dash cam footage? At one time, I wish I had freaking kept it. I went back through the trials and I grabbed all the dash cam footage and then I put it all in an order. All in order. Like, oh, we had from this time to this time, because it was all shown at different times from everybody. And I just want to see all the dash cam footage straight through. And of course, there's always the stuff that we want. That's the stuff that's missing.
You know who you got to talk to? Trial Channel. Oh,
yeah,
she's
I know.
amazing.
Yeah.
If you need an index, of any material from that Trial Channel is like a living memorial to that trial, because her brain just has playlists that will do it. Now, if you said to her, I would like that specific thing, she'd probably think that's the coolest project in the world. I don't want to speak for her, but I'm just letting you know I like to problem solve.
Oh, geez. Oh, here's another one. It just came up. Let's get through it. Grant, don't know about Higgins' nightly escapade and Devers on the monitor when Lexus and Sallyport. Did you watch the Archer testimony?
Yeah, I'm intimately familiar with the Arca testimony, and interestingly, that's how Adam Deutsch came up in all this, because Adam Deutsch was the person who told Jackson to pay Arca, because it was the feds who retained Arca initially. So I've always felt that the most likely explanation for Arca's involvement, because they're really good, but they cost a lot of money. The reason that they got that DOJ contract was the DOJ told Karen to hold back on some of the stuff they learned through the federal investigation. And so Arca was kind of like, thanks for your help, Karen. Like, here's your reasonable doubt.
Right. Oh, so here's another one. And I got to ask, hopefully it's not a long answer so we can get back to Matt. If the TUI process turned over, what did we say? Was it 5,000 or 3,000 pages? 5,000 pages. How much do you think they have it that they didn't turn over because they don't have to, because it fits their own case? How many pages do you think they got?
Under the 7 exceptions to TUI, I think Brian Tully's FBI file alone is probably 10,000 pages.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Just Tully.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're looking at like I agree. I think you're around 10,000 pages for Tully. You're probably around similar for Yuri. All right, Yuri's gonna have issues. I think Morrissey is gonna have issues, and I think Higgins is gonna have issues. When it's all said and done, I think those 4 right there are gonna have a lot of issues. But,
yeah, I know we got to get back to Matt McCabe, but I don't think Maine Justice is going to be too comfortable with that. One, Yuri had a Yankee White clearance and was on the presidential helicopter squadron, so they're not trying to do that. I think they're going to pick one. From what I understand of how this process works, they will pick one.
Yep. Make him the poster child.
So, John, before we get back to
Yeah.
everything here, I think that the Kronks that have been as generous as they have deserve this.
Whoa, look at that! An amazing Kronk sending us a super chat! That deserves a Kronk dance!
Thank you for all our Kronks out there. That it is, you know what? Hey, we're weird and we like it. All right, we love it.
Grant, we have the best Kronks by far.
We do.
I mean,
And
we're the only
tonight-
ones that have the Kronks, but I'm just saying they're the best.
And tonight, like I said, tonight is Kronk only. There's no Twitter Kronks. Tonight
No
is just
Twitter Kronks, no.
and it wasn't done on purpose. It's something happened. That's why the opening didn't play right away.
You got sabotaged.
Yeah, we got sabotaged.
Shortly after 7 a.m., I believe it's at approximately 57:17, you'll see Sergeant Good begin to mark out the scene with yellow crime scene tape. You'll see.
Okay, so let me set the stage back for the people that were paying attention earlier before we get into all the other things, right? So at 6:39, the light comes on in the house and Lank is on the phone with CPAC. He hangs up from CPAC. He goes to the house because he does a 15 to 20 minute interview with the people in the house. Okay. Now, Gallagher shows up. And the first thing they want to do is move the cars out of the way, and they want to hang the police tape, but they can't do it. And he's about to tell us that here at 7:02, Lank and Good are out there. So we already know they've already been in the house once, maybe twice, according to the way that they said things happened, but they're already out at 7:02.
In front of the cruiser at first. Him, Officer Mullaney, and Sergeant Lank. Had Sergeant Good move all the cars so I could photograph the scene, documented by photo evidence.
Now, at 7:13, here's the view, and Matt's vehicle is now in the driveway. At 7 o'clock, it wasn't. At 7:13, it was. And we know Matt said he parked it on the street because things were blocked, right?
When did Lank take the photograph?
Lank didn't.
Sorry.
Gallagher,
sorry.
Gallagher said he took those photographs, right? Yeah. He asked Mullaney to back up, and Saraf's vehicle is the one up here. And that's the, so it was around 7 o'clock is when they started taking the.
So now we have the driveway with only two cars at like 6:53. The driveway with three cars at 7, but only via a picture, and then 7:13, the driveway with three cars on video.
Seems like maybe we need to FOIA request someone's dash cams between 6:53 and 7:03.
I told Detective Sergeant Lank, make sure he has initial statements from everybody present. There was one.
Now, if you just showed up at 7 o'clock, hey, go make sure you have initial statements. Yeah, I already got that there, Sarge. Thanks. We're already there, right? Here's the view from the other one. There's Sarah's vehicle all the way up. He backed it up past, there's the fire hydrant way off to the right. But now he's backed his vehicle all the way
One
up.
cruiser, I believe, occupied Officer Saraf directly in front of where Mr. O'Keefe was. I wanted him backed up.
How many people did you observe sort of come out of their house at any point in time that you were with?
I didn't observe anybody ever come out of their house.
So then how did his vehicle get moved? Oh, that was a fat finger, but I know where we are. How did Matt's vehicle get moved from the driveway to the, from the street to the driveway if nobody came out of the house?
Evidence.
You know what I mean?
told Detective Sergeant Lank, make sure he has initial statements from everybody present. There was one cruiser, I believe, occupied Officer Saraf directly in front of where Mr. O'Keefe was. I wanted him backed up.
How many people did you observe sort of come out of their house at any point in time that you were with?
I didn't observe anybody ever come out of their house.
How long a period of time, if you know, were you on scene that particular morning?
Approximately 50 minutes, 45 to 50 minutes.
And we spoke briefly. He asked me about if I knew what happened to John. Obviously, I told him no. I had no idea. I'm just finding out right now.
Obviously, I told him.
He asked me when I last saw John. I told him I saw him at the waterfall. We saw him at the bar. We hadn't seen him. I believe, again, heat of the moment, I believe I said we saw his vehicle out front, but we never saw John.
Matthew McCabe arrived just a couple of minutes after I had walked out of the house the first time.
So this is what really kind of gets me. So if Lank is on the phone with CPAC and the light goes on at 6:39, and he goes in to talk for 15 or 20 minutes, which puts it almost to 7. And then he says he went out, sees Matt going in, so he turns around and go back in to talk to Matt. But we've known that Matt's been there since before Kerry left. Kerry left at 6:37. How could Matt be showing up when Kerry left at 6:37?
Well, how can he, based on his timeline or the timeline we have?
Well, you want to believe these people. This is an officer of the law.
Yeah, but how many timelines have we done that don't match up theirs?
None of them match. I get it.
When are we going to stop? When are we going to stop believing their shit?
Well, I heard a very good explanation from Emily C. You just have to adopt the multiverse theory. Just assume that there's like 7 universes, and it all makes sense.
Grant, just so you know, there's 420 people watching.
Oh, I'm thrilled.
You've been waiting for that number, huh?
It popped. I just looked at it. I'm like, oh, there it is.
All right, keep going.
Moments after he arrived, I went back into the house to speak with Mr. McCabe.
Why don't we see that on the dash cam footage?
Yeah. Why didn't we see any of that?
No.
I'm not sure. I'd say
I
maybe
kind of
5
believe
minutes.
it happened.
Hey, how about this? We saw the dash cam footage when they asked. Oh well, not just that. When they asked Kerry and Jen about what happened at One Meadows, they showed the One Meadows footage to say, yeah, that didn't happen. When they asked firefighter Katie McLaughlin, oh no, that's not what happened. When they showed all the footage of, again, the phone, when Kerry says, I saw the phone under him, and we watched the footage, and Kerry is like half a block away. How did she see the phone under him when we're looking at the dash cam and she's half a block away? We've seen it, every one of them. They've all, so that's why you call it inconsistencies,
Well, you want to know what's wild about this? Just because I know I have spent a lot of time with this case. You all have spent clearly a lot of time with it. Mm-hmm. I watch a lot of other trials too. Adelson, whatever it may be. I just watch them. I've never seen a trial like this in my life where the witnesses coordinated so obviously. Now that I actually think about it, like every other trial, it's like, hello, sergeant, like, okay, go about your business. Hello, witness, go about your business. Not this trial. But I was so in it, and I was just thinking as you were describing this, wow, if you got so into this that you started studying this every day, you'd come to think this was normal in trials. It is not. Let me just tell you, you are not crazy. This is not normal. I just want to let you know.
Grant, they say the other side basically says I am obsessed with the Alberts. I'm not obsessed with the Alberts. I'm obsessed with getting to the bottom of this. And someone actually has a question for you, and they're super curious on how your followers, your grantees, how have they reacted to your evolved perception in the case?
Everybody's a mod, so everybody behaves.
Everybody's a mod, everybody behaves. Huh?
So, Grant, you had people that were following you at the beginning, right? And you thought one way. Now you think the other way. So, do you still have the same followers, or do they still, or do they question you, or do you gain new followers and lose the old ones?
It's so there are some people who only were watching because of the trial. Those people fell away. There are some people who just never went away because they found the streams interesting. And I know who everybody is. It's a big chat, but I know who every single person and every user is.
Good for
So
you.
like,
That's awesome.
yeah, and I talk to them and I know about like their pets and so I just know who people are.
These are your
So
friends now.
yeah, those people don't care. I've said from the beginning, I think Birchmore's a cover up. Like I just rail on Tully for the Lindsay phone extraction like every day. So they're all just like, Grant's always had questions. Now I think their view is, well, if he feels this whole thing was really like the witnesses prosecuting the case, that's probably what happened. We should listen to him. The new viewers are people who I think are like, first of all, why didn't we have Grant on our side the whole time if he believes this? But then also, oh, wow, we watched Grant over 2 years evolve, and it wasn't like he was hiding the ball. We watched him figure it out. We just got to let him do it. And so, like, that's cool, too. They're all nice to each other.
No, well, there you go. Here's another one. They just keep rolling in for you, Grant. ARCA's scientific testing proves the injuries to the arm are not consistent with so much damage to the taillight. In other words, the car didn't hit John. Do you agree or not? And I don't know what's SEK? Which is that? Is that Swedish? Germany?
It's Swedish kroner.
Huh? Well, I got
Swedish kroner.
Well, yeah, there you go.
So it's a really interesting question because it goes back to what I said earlier. Dr. Wolf, Dr. Rentschler, like they are trained in this. So like their conclusions, like, first of all, I cannot critique or praise them. I don't know how they came to those conclusions, not because I didn't read the material, but because it's a foreign language to me. When you're reading the Code of Federal Regulations, it might be a foreign language to you, but it's not to me. To them, like their answers stand. The other prosecution witnesses, their answers stand. So I wish I could tell you like, oh, ARCA should have adjusted the angle of approach, or the prosecution witness should have done it at this speed. No, I can't.
How they test. Right.
Yeah,
hey,
I can't.
Just out of curiosity, what currency does Greenland use?
What currency does Denmark use?
Oh, right.
I wasn't asking you.
Well, you didn't say to Grant.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know what they use, but I know what they're going to use, which is the American dollar. There will be no negotiation.
Okay, I was just checking.
Hey, Grant, I got a question for you.
Yeah, they use yeah. Go ahead.
Grant, I know you follow trials and everything. Are you following the civil trials?
Yeah, so I've been keeping an eye along with the wonderful Kyle Sharkey and Dee Dee. We are Team Docket Rocket Stars collectively, and every single time every single time a filing goes up, we know about it in like 5 seconds, and I read it. So yes, I've read everything, and it's fascinating.
In your opinion, how many phones are they going to get?
It won't work like that because this is what's going to frustrate a lot of people. Not only the slow pace of the civil trial, but civil discovery rules are very different than the Rule 14 and Rule 17 that you've come to know and love in the criminal context. Civil discovery is governed by like Rule 45, I think, and then a few other rules. it's not really like the production of third-party records that you will see. It will be closer to like written interrogatories, discovery, like deposition answers, and then during those processes to like impeach or further the evidentiary line of questioning, you will see documents come out that are explosive, but it will be like months delayed. So that's what the civil case is that's why it's so interesting. Different discovery, but more explosive over a slower period of time.
If it goes to trial, and I think it will go to trial, how many on Karen's side? How many people do you think she's going to call to testify?
I mean,
I know that's I know it's tough to put a number on that. Is it going to be a significant number of people?
Well, so only 1% of civil cases go to trial. I think you're right that something is going to go to trial, but Karen's insurance is what's going to dictate the Plymouth case. It's the other case, Karen's case, that went from Bristol to federal court, where, like Karen's witness list, I could foresee it being very heavy. And you got to ask yourself, why is only Karen filed suit against the House defendants? Why did they never sue?
No, because they don't want to get to the bottom of it. They want the perception to be Karen did it and just let's move on and just go about our lives.
And that's the answer. I think what you'll see is the federal case will go back down to district court, superior court in Bristol. It will not stay in federal court. And that case will become like the locus of, it will be like the fallout from the Whitey case, but even more explosive. Like whatever people think they're going to get out of that in terms of answers, you times it by 100, it still won't be what you're going to see when that all plays out.
So if it stays out of federal court, there's a good chance it's going to be public.
Yeah, it's not going to stay in federal court because, and I don't like have it offhand, but I read a little bit about the analysis, and basically like the reason they brought it up to federal court is because a lot of those claims would be barred under the like 11th Amendment or something. They're like actually constitutionally barred in federal court, but they're not barred in state court. And so what happens is, like, to avoid that quagmire, the federal court will kick it back down to state court, but the state court's then allowed to enforce certain provisions of federal law. A lot of people think federal court and state court are two different things. They are, but federal court can enforce state law and state court can enforce federal law. It's called comity, and it's very common, and that's what we're going to see here. A state level trial with federal implications in terms of some of the claims. It's going to be very confusing. People should get ready for it, but it's going to take a long time.
Grant, speaking of comedy, I have breaking news.
Thank you all for having me tonight, Kronks. John and Eric, thank you. Oh my God, Canton Chronicle! The towel is here at the Canton Chronicle!
There you go.
That's outstanding.
Grant, you got your Muppet.
Oh, I'm in love.
That deserves a second.
It's official.
We gotta watch.
Thank you all for having me tonight, Kronks. John and Eric, thank you. Oh my God, Canton Chronicle! The towel is here at the Canton Chronicle!
No belt. There's no belt. He had no belt.
Hey, can we go back to that one more time? I just want to see where he might have been.
Thank you all for having me tonight, Kronks. John and Eric, thank you. Oh my God, Canton Chronicle! The towel is here at the Canton Chronicle!
With those lights, I thought it was the stage of the old stage
Where was he running to?
of the
Where was
Gong
he
Show.
running? Where was he running to? we gotta finish this. Here we go. Oh Jesus! I gotta add to the stage again. Hold on.
Police cruisers and a fire truck. Is that right?
Yeah, there might have been an ambulance there as well, but yes.
Do you recall specifically seeing an ambulance?
I do recall seeing an ambulance. I don't know if I saw it when I came down or if I saw it when I eventually parked the car, but I do recall seeing an ambulance.
There it goes, 6:27. There you go, 6:30. There's the fire truck and ambulance. He recalls it, and that means he left before the call.
At the
Maybe
point
he got
the lights
nervous.
came on, the ladder truck had already gone, left from the scene, correct? The
I
fire
believe,
engine.
I believe so.
The firefighters are all gone.
Yes.
The ambulance has already left and transported Mr. O'Keefe.
Yes.
The paramedics are gone, the EMTs.
Yes.
Carrie Roberts is gone.
Yes.
Karen Reed is gone.
Yes.
So when the only parties left at the scene are members of the Albert family, Jen McCabe, and the Canton Police Department representatives, that's when the lights inside 34 Fairview finally came on.
Okay.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Sorry. She informed me Karen was going, she was dropping Karen off back at the house. She was going to the hospital, and she was going to pick up John's parents in Braintree. I told her I would come with her to pick up the parents. Like I said, the road conditions were pretty bad. And, just for safety reasons, I thought I would go with her, help her, go pick up the parents. She informed me that Jen was in the house. Jen is waiting to be interviewed by the police.
So where did you go from there?
I then proceeded to the front door of 34 Fairview.
Okay, this is the driveway. This is what Higgins would have seen if he backed out, right? Backed out of the driveway. There's the mailbox. There it is.
Right? I mean,
come on.
Nobody saw anything.
Nobody saw anything. And if you want to talk about that second ambulance, remember, she just said that Jen's waiting to be interviewed by the police. So that means they haven't been in there yet. Mm-hmm. If she's waiting for the cops to talk to her, they haven't talked to her yet. So it's the original time. And even Kerry says it's the original time that she left. It was the first time she left when she saw Matt. So the second ambulance, Matt didn't see the second ambulance. He saw the first ambulance.
So just so I understand, what is the most likely explanation for why Matt McCabe left his house at like 6:25?
No, it wasn't 6:25. No, 6:25. He would have been down there at 6:35, 36, 37. You're right. Well, actually, a little less because remember, he had to 6:25. He had to get there, then turn around, go back up, come down Spring. So he probably left his house around 6:20 maybe. Why? So is your question, what do you think the original reason for him to leave the house at 6:20 is?
Yeah, because I understand your timeline now. Like, forget what they said the order of events are. I think the actual objective order of events, and let's just start at 6:20 for simplicity's sake, is he leaves the house at 6:20. He gets there in time for 6:37 to see that ambulance leave. He then has the interaction with Carrie Roberts.
6:38. Yeah.
And then by 7 a.m., apparently, because the Gallagher photograph's untimed, we just have a photograph. By 7 a.m., his car's in the driveway.
Like somewhere between 7 and 7:13. Yep.
So what's completely unexplained, and
is why
they don't they don't even have an explanation for, is why he was able to go there, to go there between 5:35 and 6:20. There's no explanation, no phone call, nothing.
Voodoo dolls. Maybe it's the voodoo dolls.
Well, yes, setting aside that the voodoo dolls from Jen McCabe's house, which maybe she had voodoo dolls of other people back then, who knows? Maybe she already didn't like Karen, I don't know. But the voodoo doll, outside of the voodoo dolls, that's the part I can't understand. What is I would ask him the question. I don't want to, but what's a reasonable explanation for why you left your house at 6:20? That's the whole thing.
Not only that, why did you leave your house at 6:20 and go right to 34 Fairview when the original plan was to go to Tom Beatty's?
And you know what's so just sadly,
why did you go to One Meadows?
Yeah, and you know what's so sadly ironic about all of this? It would have been a stronger case if they, as strange as this is, had just all said, oh yeah, we saw something on the lawn and then we called as soon as we got home. That would have been an open and shut case. They didn't do it. They compromised the case and they know it and they feel terribly guilty about it. That's why they're acting this way.
Oh, the guilt must be eating some of them up. I'm going to blow your mind now. I'm going to blow your mind. So remember how I said the triggering event was the 6:35 phone call from Jen to Matt. Okay. And we know that Matt talked to Kerry before she left, right?
6:38?
At 6:38. So you know he's on the property by 6:38. What if I told you that there was a 6:47 phone call from, Matt to Jen for 18 seconds.
Was that ever, it was never mentioned or it was explained or just ignored?
I think it was just ignored. But there was the 6:35 phone call that he references on We Found John. But there's a 6:47 18-second call from Matt back to Jen.
Yeah.
When he's there.
Yeah, I don't know what, and listen, I'm sure no one will be surprised by this, but it's an incomplete picture, but that's why it's a problem. They left a very important detail unexplained that you've proven. And I get why you're so proud of this, by the way. I'm not being pedantic.
I didn't prove anything. I'm just.
No, you did. No, because I know this really well, and I wouldn't have believed you if you were just saying these times to me. Even though I know this really well, I've been like, okay, prove it. You did.
Well, thank you.
Good job, John.
Yeah.
I mean that too. I mean, hey,
Eric, can I get I got a woohoo. I got a Peter Murphy. Woohoo.
Grant, have you met Peter Murphy?
I have had the honor of meeting Sergeant Murphy multiple times. We shake hands every time we meet.
There you go. Good for you.
Grant, if you were a lawyer on either side, prosecution or defense, it doesn't matter. If you were if you were a lawyer in this trial, who's one person you want to ask questions of? You can ask it as the prosecutor or the defense. It doesn't matter. One person you want to talk to.
Do I get the same question?
And I got and then I got to follow up.
So I would want to cross him, but just for personal reasons and because I could definitely put him in federal prison if he were under oath and I was crossing him, Brian Tully, because he wronged Lindsay and I want him to go to federal prison. So I would be brutal and he would not make it through that cross.
Okay. Eric?
Does this person, are the rules the person had to have testified?
Anyone from trial 1 or trial 2.
Yeah, but what if they didn't testify?
Yeah. Or on the list. How's that? Or on the list. Were they on the list?
I want to question Karen Reed.
Well, well, there you go. Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Not on any list or anything, but
now, as the prosecutor, or do you want to be the defense attorney?
Something, I don't think it matters whether it's prosecution or defense. I think the
Yeah,
answers are going to be the same either way.
Well, let me ask it like this. Would you rather ask her who, what, when, where, and why questions or yes or no questions?
I'd go with the who, what, where, and why.
You want to be the prosecutor.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah, but not.
Oh, no, Karen Reed's the defense, so you would have to be the...
Correct. So if you were her defense attorney and she took the stand, you'd say, like, who, what, when, where, why. If you were the prosecutor, you'd be like, you did this, didn't you, Miss Reed? Yes or no?
Grant. Me and
Grant and I are on the same page.
So am I. Okay, ready, Grant. All right, this is going to be my last question for you too, because it's getting late. If you could get unredacted, and they have to be someone that was either on the list or just on the list for either trial, unredacted, full cell phone, everything. Whose do you want?
On the list, but they didn't have to be called.
Oh, wait. How about this? Yeah, they could be someone that testified. Anyone, the lawyers, the judge, the stenographer, Jim, you name it. Anyone that we've been watching, whose phone completely 100%.
Just because it would give me everything that I want to know, Gretchen Voss.
Oh, Gretchen Voss. Wow, I thought you were going to go back with Tony again. Yeah.
Just so everybody knows, Gretchen works for who, Grant?
Boston Magazine, which is now a subsidiary of the Boston Globe, but wasn't when this trial started, but it is now.
And she interviewed Karen.
Yeah, and she also, just to give some people some insight, the only reason I don't know right now whether the Netflix documentary is actually still live. I think it got pulled. I really do. But people should understand that was not like a Michael Proctor project, a Jen McCabe project, or a Kate Peter project. That was Gretchen's project. And they tried to take that shit over. So she didn't just interview Karen Reed. She was going to make the Justice for John O'Keefe documentary. Because remember how Kevin Linehan, Yellow Cottage Fails, got to Grant,
I thought the same thing, but apparently we are media personalities or YouTubers, or we put ourselves out there, so people are allowed to kind of call it. Yeah. So you can call them Yellow Cottage Fails.
Oh, okay. But they went to the producers of Karen's documentary, the one that did air, and they sabotaged that by turning Terry or whatever her name was against Karen and Alan. They did that with Gretchen. Gretchen was somewhat friendly to Karen until Kate got to her. And then there you go.
Mazza likes your little Yellow Cottage Fails. You know who I want? I want Berkey's. I want all of Berkey's phone.
Oh yeah.
You know why? Because
he's one that forget. I say Karen. I want to question Berkey.
I want his phone. If I had to question someone, I would want to. Oh man, if I was going to question, I didn't even think of it for myself. I know whose phone I would want. I want Berkey's phone. I guess if it was me after the whole trial, you know what? It's not a huge thing, but I guess I would want to. I would be the prosecutor, and I would ask Chris. I would ask Chris questions.
Hey Grant, I got a question for you. You may not know the answer, but now that Berkowitz is passed on, he doesn't have any right to privacy, so they could technically get the phone records, couldn't they?
Oh, no. Yes, you could, even if he wasn't. The town paid. It was in the contract. So if it's in the contract that the town pays for your phone, the taxpayers pay for the phone. You can get the.
Why haven't we done a public records report?
Well, yeah. So I will try to be helpful. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice. A towel. I have to say that it's required by the ethical rules. But anyway, so
the towel part too.
Yeah, that's in there somewhere. I'm going to talk to the board of our overseers. It's very important. But yes, here's how it works. So you're gonna find some case law on, I think it's like an East Hampton case or something out of Hampton Superior Court, where they talk about whether the public records law covers personal devices used for work purposes. It does. But here's the problem. It is not enumerated in MGL. And what that means is it's not written in the statute. So what you have to do, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice, is you must tell the people you're requesting, the records access officer, that you've read the guidance from the supervisor of public records and that you've read the section that says personal devices are used for work purposes are subject to your request. You must explicitly say it, or they will just not do it.
Right. Say it happened 2 years ago, Eric, where there was an exchange between myself and Helena Rafferty. All right. And I don't think I ever shared them on the screen, but I did tell everybody, what the content was. Somebody reached out to me and they questioned me, and I told them, I go, this is exactly what it was. They FOIA requested that. And it came back as we have no responses. And they questioned me. And I said, you know what? I go, they're still in my phone. I haven't deleted them. I go, I have my T-Mobile bill that will show you that will line up with my phone records so that you can look at my phone records and look at my bill and see the incoming and outgoing calls and texts. So that I can verify that this did happen. So even though they don't want to give it to you, under whatever they probably said, no, it's her phone. They didn't want to push the issue. And the person said, well, someone's lying. And I go, they're not lying to me. I'm not the one lying. I go, I have the text. I still have the text to this day right here on the phone.
Yep. So every time a government agency gets a request like that, they have to make a decision about, is it possible this person is requesting stuff from us that they already have? Because just to bring this in a nice, neat circle, if like Jen McCabe and Michael Proctor, the feds have already tapped your phones and have all your records, and then you hide discovery from Karen, they're going to know. As a public records officer, you can probably feel out whether the requester knows what they're doing. If you just write an email with typos and it's 2 sentences, I'm going to be like, bro, I'm going to fuck this person. They're not going to know how to get over my response. If it's I am counsel for the Boston Globe and I'm going to sue you unless you give me these fucking records, or worse, it's Corey Hopkins. You run the other way because she's getting those records. Don't hide a thing. And that's how they think about it. They will stonewall you unless you come to them with both the proper form of a request and some clout, or they're just going to be like, yeah.
And a lot of people, the problem with a lot of people that are sending in these information requests, they're way too broad. You have to ask for a specific, they'll come back and they're like, hey, they want, $800 for this. Yeah, because you want the world.
Well, and let me give people, I'll compliment your advice and give one other important piece of advice. I know people are doing a lot of FOIAs. One, yes, specify a time period, like October 1st through what, and then what you want, specify the documents, records, and then for the love of God, say electronically stored information. Most records are not fucking printed documents. Say electronically stored information. And then the most important thing, they're going to tell you, they're going to charge you some outrageous fee.
Yep.
No, immediately do a limited, I'm not a lawyer, this is not legal advice. Immediately, you can be like, I'm appealing this to the supervisor of public records, who will give you a limited ruling telling them they cannot charge fees like that. But they'll do that every time if you're onto something.
Yep. They try to use the money to make it go away.
The higher the fee, the more tea there is to collect.
Sometimes, but it depends. It depends on what you've asked for. Some people are asking for things that they're like, give me all, for example,
you want 3 years worth of stuff. Yeah, I get it.
I want all of the dash cam footage from every vehicle that was down at 34 that morning. Okay, that's going to take them some time to because the amount of, say it was 50 minutes for some of them, but some didn't have. But whatever the case. I would narrow it down, like right now, like tonight. You know what I would like? I would like the dash cam footage from 6:53 to 7:05 from that car, just that one car, right? Let them give it to me. Then I'll ask for another one. Give me just the footage from that car because I want to see Matt come. Something's going to get caught. Don't ask for everything. Who knows? Maybe you'll get it on the first try. Maybe you'll get it on the second or third. You know?
And another warning to those doing the FOIAs: you don't want to get the label of prolific requester. And I know some are going to be like, that is not a thing. Yeah, it's a thing. If you get designated prolific requester, they can like deprioritize you or just stop filling them. Like, don't do that. Be smart. Like, pick your shots.
Right. Yeah. Pick what you really think is like, just say, what is the most important? Like, what do you really want us to get? And then just send it, you know?
So, John, since we decided we weren't going to do 3 and 4 hour shows ever again,
I know.
I have a like a final question for Grant.
Go ahead. We'll let you get the final one in. Go ahead. Hold on. Let me get this. Let's bring us up.
I've never really met you, but I've seen you many times at the courthouse. And during that first trial, you know, some of our little interactions, which I'm sure you don't remember, weren't as pleasant as this show has been. And you were pretty aggressive as far as your questioning of Karen, and I hate to say the word getting in her face. And you were doing your job, and we may not have liked it, but you know, you were doing it, and you made things happen. Now that you've kind of turned that corner, have you ever had an opportunity to press some questions to Karen since you've gotten off the dark side?
I haven't. I sent her one Facebook message. I think that, and I'm sure she saw it. She never responded. It just said, "Hi, Karen." And that was probably like, I think it was right around the fall of 2025. So it was right when I really realized what was going on. But I would like to talk to her. It doesn't have to be on the record. Like, I just want to talk to her.
If you just walked up to her on the sidewalk and happened to be going by, what would you say to her?
Well,
wait. But before you get into that, Grant, before you answer that, think about it. Because I'm going to take this in, because you never know if maybe we might be able to pass it along at some point.
So internally, I would be like, I heard a lot of my questions or my reporting in the Rotten Mango interview. Mm-hmm. So then I'd be like, I think I should hug her and apologize, but I wouldn't want to be weird about it. So I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Grant." And I'd be like, "Do you want a hug? Like, I'm sorry what you went through. I understand how dangerous these guys are." And then I would say to her, like, straight up, like, when you said that thing about Birchmore, it confirmed everything that I believed about how you approach this case. And I appreciate that. Although we definitely went to war a little bit, like when you looked at me in February of 2025, when I asked you the question about Helena Rafferty's announcement about the end of the federal probe, I didn't understand it at the time, but you were telling me like, you're close. And then I figured it out. So I don't know. What else do you want to tell me? And that's how I would start.
I wouldn't hug her.
I don't plan on hugging her. I don't plan on touching her, but the vibe I would like to convey to her is I'm very sorry that you went through this. Like, that's why I said I wouldn't just like hug her.
Yeah, I think that's important to say. It's
right. Maybe you could finish with the hug. Like maybe after you told her and she understood you, then you could leave with the hug. Don't lead with the hug. Yeah.
No, and I don't do that. I'm autistic. I would probably just introduce myself, but I hope like she realizes I feel bad that I fell victim to the propaganda of these people who were actually dangerous, and thus I ended up being their unwitting like bully towards her. Like, why would I want to be that? So I want her to know that, and that also I understand how scary they are. It's not inauthentic. I fear them.
Grant, when we meet, I'm going to give you a hug.
Yes, and I'm not saying I am opposed to hugs or don't hug people or would hug a random person.
John's gonna smell like weed for the first
Give
time.
me a heads up. You see this 300-pounder coming your way, just know it's with all love, okay?
Yes, and by the way, you should know, and I'm sure you know this, towards the second trial, like, yes, Rita gave me a hug, like other people gave me a hug, because we eventually started to understand this force that was not just you all were up against, that I was up against. They tormented me too, eventually, when I wouldn't toe the party line.
There you go. All right, Grant, before we leave, you have any questions for us?
How do you feel that, in light of everything you went through, that it ended up being me that was able to somewhat understand where you're coming from the other side?
I felt pretty good about where you know where you've come from and where you are now. I never thought you'd be on our show, Grant, ever. And
I think it's
I'm looking forward to the next time you come on.
Yeah, I think it's the best thing that have happened, because the reason I started the show, I had a couple. I wanted to have people on that I didn't agree with all the time. We offered other people from Canton to come on, and I even told them ahead of time, I said, listen, you tell me what is off the table, we won't bring it up, right? But if you want to come on, we will give you your time and space, and we'll go, we'll talk about it in a nice sense of way. Everybody knows, my mother could swear like a trucker. My father, not so much. When I play hockey, oh yeah, the F-bombs come. When I'm on here, I really try not to.
We're a kid.
I try. It's PG. I'm not an R-rated, but I'm more PG-13. So you're the first person that we've come on that was from the other side. Like Eric said, we didn't know what we were going to get. We don't know you, right? We're like, hey,
we know you better right now than we did 3 hours ago.
Oh my God, this was. I'll tell you, this went fast. It was amazing. I didn't tune out at all. Not to the other guests. I haven't tuned out on the other guests, but no, you were amazing. I had a good time.
You're both very kind. I enjoyed it. I don't stay up very late, but I was basically with it until the end, and I appreciate it. And the reality is, you know why they won't come on? I'll give it to you straight. Because you would corner them in a very funny, authentic way about the facts, and they'd be like, I have to go now. I have to pick up my daughter. There's something going on. Bye. So that's why they won't do it.
Chris Albert's welcome on this
everybody is.
Anytime.
Yeah. Anytime. Grant, thank you so much for being on with us. You're welcome. If you got something like, hey, I think, this ties to Canton and I'd like to talk about it, hit me up. You should send me a text, and we'd love to have you back on again. You are just an encyclopedia.
Well,
hey,
God bless. Go ahead.
What law school did you go to?
Oh, New England Law, which is where David Unetti's sister Tanis went.
Yeah, they know Suffolk,
Suffolk's good too, and also I'll say God bless both of you. I don't know if you know, but I wanted to be a Catholic priest, didn't get to happen. So if you're wondering, why is he this way? I'm a priest without a vocation. So yeah, I'm a little weird, but I just want to love humanity. I'm sorry, deal with it.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
If there's any way to make this happen, it would be pretty cool to have you and Unetti on at the same time.
I'd love to talk to Mr. Unetti. He talks to me on Twitter, in the comments. He's great.
Oh, I see it. I've seen how you guys have come a long way.
And you know what?
And it's good, and it's great to see.
Yeah. I think he legitimately he likes you. I think he legitimately likes 100%. Yeah,
he's got a respect. There's a respect there that he appreciates, and
Yeah.
It comes through in his replies or his posts, whatever. But I generally think that he's seen the transformation, and he even the first trial, I'm sure there was some level of respect he had.
Yeah, game recognized game. Thank you for having me. It was great. I'm going to go to bed and we'll talk again.
This is how we send you off, Grant. We're going to send you off
Thank
with this.
you all for having me tonight, Kronks. John and Eric, thank you. Oh my God, Canton Chronicle! The towel is here at the Canton Chronicle.
There you go. There you go.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Grant Smith Ellis, folks. Did you think it was going to turn out like that?
John, before the show, we were like, do we have him on first? Do we have him on second? He was on the whole time. I knew it was going to go this way, too, just so you know.
Here's the thing. You know what? When the opening wouldn't come on and when it wouldn't hook up to Twitter, and I'm like, I whatever. Let's just we just go with it. We just go with it. You know what? It was just, that was good. That was really good. You know, the chat thing still.
Oh, the chat was humming today.
Yeah. Oh, the chat was going too fast. Thank God we don't slow the chat down. Did we hit all of the I just want to make sure we hit everyone. See, we did this one here. Loving tonight. Can we get part 2 with Greg? Yeah, we will have him back on Bama Girly 33. This is a great combination of tune and EA take. That kid, I knew it. I asked him the question only because I saw it. I'm like, look at him with his freaking eyes closed. Section 2.473. You know, and I'm like, oh my God, look at him just go. You know, yeah, some people don't understand.
He's well read. He does the research.
Yeah.
Not bad.
And he even understands. Here's the other thing. He understands that he might not be. I'm the same way, people. I'm just a clown, but you put me out with a group of people, and I'm the same way. I'm a misfit. He understands that, and he's working on it. I just avoid people and stay back here. But yeah, he's.
And he smoked 4 blunts while he was.
Thank God I wasn't trying to go beer for blunt with him. You know?
Listen, you don't want me to tell you to count the cans right now. I know that.
No. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad tonight. I think I'm
counting the pricks and ciders.
7, 8. I have 8.
All right, so we're at the 3:08 mark. It's time to land this. Bring the ship into the dock.
Everybody, Mizzy, you got to watch the beginning, Mizzy. Every Kronk that watched us tonight, thank you so much, because technically, like I said, it was just a YouTube only. So it was just straight Kronks. Brandy, thanks for jumping in. Brandy, I hope you and Boozy, I hope your show was great. I'll probably watch it tomorrow. I was talking with Grant before.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. So you guys, you guys are gonna kill it anyways. But I'll check in on that. And
Brandy,
so yeah,
we let Grant pick the time slot. Otherwise, we would have been watching.
Yeah. So Brandy, if you are watching and you came in late, we asked Grant if he wanted to come on. We gave him the option because Eric doesn't want to do tomorrow because the Patriots are on, and he wouldn't have been in any shape to do the show.
I'm going to be hanging with Whitey and the wives, and
right.
we get an Uber.
So I left it up to Grant. I said, Grant, your two time slots are either Monday at 7:30 or tonight, and he picked tonight, and so that's why we did what we did, and it worked out because I know you guys went on at 7, and so I didn't want to go up against you guys, but so when Grant said 8, I'm like, that's great. So yeah, that is true. That is true. Now, see, they focus. That kid was focused. Okay, he is. He was focused. Not like you, Eric. You know, but
it was impressive. So I just
was
want a little bit of a getting ready for next
Housekeeping.
week.
Go ahead.
There's a good chance that we're gonna not be able to do a Sunday night show. I know this upsets John greatly.
Right.
But I'm assuming we're gonna have a victory tomorrow, and there's gonna be a big game next Sunday. And I'm not gonna be doing a show. We'll do it either Saturday or Monday.
Saturday? What if it's a Saturday game?
I don't think the I think
AFC
the AFC Championship and NFC Championship is the same day.
Oh, okay. All right. That's fine. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll hey, guys. We'll be on when we'll be on. If we you know what?
We'll keep you posted.
We'll keep you posted. If we have another show, we have another show. If we don't, we don't. You know, we do, we do.
We'll have another show.
Of course. But, you know, tomorrow's not guaranteed. So every day you wake up, you're one day closer.
Debbie Downer. Can we end this on a high note? Like, give us McDonald's something.
Oh, you know what? That's how we're going out. Ready? Let's where is it? Here we go. We're going out.
Give us the fucking timeline. And we'll go easy on you.